Welcome to Plat Chat, episode 101. It's 101, right?
Oh, welcome
yeah,
to
it's on the
Plat
screen.
Chat
Plat Chat Valorant 101.
This
Nice.
is where we answer your questions.
We've come a long way, huh? 100 episodes from episode 1. How about that? We've been doing this for a long time. Whole lot of discussion.
That's just maths. That's just how maths works. That's how numbers work. Yeah.
Every once in a while, we have these intros where we just do math, and it's always.
I love
get my
addition.
camera so it's not side on.
Bren, you fixed it.
That's the most way to begin.
What have I done?
It looks much better now.
Hold on.
For the audio listeners, for those of you on Spotify, shout out to the audio listeners, by the way. We don't give enough, dude. Shout out to the audio listeners. Shout out to the video watchers. Shout out to the live viewers. Shout out to the VOD watchers. Shout out to...
That's the same thing. The video watchers are the VOD watchers.
well, the live video watchers, the VOD watchers, many different people. Shout out to the Twitch viewers. Dude, shout out to all the various different viewers we have. Shout out to anyone who's watching for the first time. Shout out to anyone who's watching for the last time. shout out to everyone, honestly, who's enjoying this episode of Plat Chat Valorant.
I've broken my camera.
Something about shout out to people watching for the last time has just slayed me. I was a VOD watcher yesterday. I watched the VOD back of the previous episode where Bren was just going nuts because I was streaming. I was trying to catch up with all of the VODs that have just been mounting up on my desk.
Yeah.
And so people were spamming "they have Shroud" in caps, and I was like, "What is this? Why is this a picture of Bren? What's going on?" And I watched back the episode, and indeed, they did have Shroud.
Yeah,
How
that
have
was.
I done this?
I enjoyed watching that one back. I mean, we'll just continue on with the episode, and Bren can call the Geek Squad to come over to his house and help him out. Bren was off the. That's what happens when you drink one too many Red Bulls. Bren, every time I've seen him on this show, he's here. We go. This is the Red Bull moment. This is the Red Bull clutch when Bren is yelling into the camera off one too many cans. I like how Balla had the same reaction in the video and in this current episode. You could just see on both cams. He was just doing the exact same reaction.
Dude, you can't kill me. I don't know why I'm gonna die this episode if you guys kill me like this. I will die of a coughing fit.
Oh, Balla's got problems. He's going to be hitting the mute button repeatedly throughout this.
Oh, dude.
Well, Josh,
We've got to be
let's start.
calm. We've got to be calm and patient.
No jokes, please.
Okay, no jokes.
Josh, have you had a nice return? You spent a couple weeks away. You said you had enough with the internet. Too much.
Yeah,
Valorant,
I did. I
it's time
logged
to
off.
take a break.
I logged off. I was terminally online, and then the last month I've been terminally offline. I was going walking. I saw grass. I touched some heather. I didn't even know what that was until recently.
What
it's
is
all
that?
purple and shit.
What?
It's purple.
Oh,
It's like
That's
living
purple grass?
purple. Yeah, it's like living purple grass. It'll blow your tits off. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy out there. You should try it.
That is
sometime.
mental.
But yeah, I feel like I've been in a coma and living under a rock at the same time. Like someone put me under a rock in a coma because I've just come out of it and everything is happening everywhere. I took a small break after Masters and now there's just 1,000 million games to catch up on.
Yep.
Trent's playing well again. I mean, Mech's back. Derek's fragging. What else is happening? Tens is on Chamber. The Chinese teams are playing. China's playing Valorant. The underground Chinese circuit has risen up. Korea's dead. What? I feel like I've just missed everything.
I fixed it. Holy fuck. You have no idea. I've been running around my fucking apartment trying to find a micro HDMI cable.
Yeah,
Because the one I was using, I fitted with my camera and it just fucking snapped.
well, the cable
Just
snapped
in
in half,
half?
like
Just for-
a
yeah, just for
dry
a-
noodle. What do you mean?
The end of it, for some reason, micro HDMI cables, they make them using like the flimsiest materials in the world.
Was it an Amazon Basics HDMI cable?
No.
You sure? You bought the good stuff, did you? You bought and snapped the good stuff. There's no way you paid.
Bren knows
like
about the
50 for
good
that.
stuff. He's still in Brazil.
It just says HDMI.
Yeah, that's not the good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know,
Listen,
but
I'll connect you
anyway.
with the good stuff.
Mate,
Now that,
you can't connect
now
me
that you're
with
back
anything.
from prison, I'll connect you with the good stuff.
I heard you talking about grass though, from my room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Josh, you missed a lot,
Big
Bren.
on
It's
How is that
fine.
relevant love it.
You missed a lot, and we're not catching you up. Let's talk about the APAC franchising slots. we're not catching you up, Bren. So the APAC franchising slots have been leaked. There's all types of, and also, by the way, all caps, rumor. It's a rumor. But the rumor is that the franchising slots got leaked, and there's discussion to be had around which region has X amount of slots and why. So 3 of them are going to APAC. Can we get the full list up somewhere, or do they have this in the body text? Because I think it's like, what is it? It's like 3 APAC, 2 Japan, 2
Bo reported on it.
Korea.
There's 3 Japan. Japan was the primary region.
Yeah,
Oh,
APAC
was
has
it?
3, Japan has 3, Korea has 2, South Asia has 1, and OCE has 1.
I saw the APAC people
okay.
molding about this because there's because APAC is not a region. It's not a region in the same way that EMEA is not a region. It's made up of a lot of different ones. So you have the Singapore Malaysia region, you have Thai, you have Philippines, and you have Indonesia as well, are the 4 main regions within APAC. And they don't have like blended teams really. It's not like the top teams, half Thai and half Indonesian. For the most part, they are coming from one of those smaller regions, which means one of those is guaranteed to not be represented. So I can understand that, but also, how the fuck else are you supposed to do it? Because they're trying to include so many different areas and bundle them into one. Maybe they should just give Korea 1 spot. Maybe that's the answer.
After this LCQ, yeah.
No.
Might adjust.
Yeah, I mean, actually, though.
That might be the answer. I mean, listen, if you really think about it, if you want to do more math, there are going to be 2 Korean teams, because if you give them 1 slot, there's still going to be 2 teams, because there are going to be probably 5 Korean players on the Japanese teams in total, right? So at the end of the day, you'll essentially have 2 Korean teams anyhow. I mean, it's also just part of the... It's not necessarily an issue, but it's just the inevitable reality that there's only so many spots for teams to actually exist in this league. I mean, if there were more teams in the league, then that would solve the problem. But where do you put the cap? Where do you put the lid on the amount of teams that are actually going to be in? That is a question that I think can only be answered with access to an immense amount of background information in regards to how the league in totality is going to be working. And it's also, isn't it kind of this being gloom and doom is also partly operating on the lack of information surrounding what the tier 2 circuit is going to look like, right? Because I feel like if this was announced or rumored in tandem with like, hey, but we've got an active tier 2 system set up for these regions in which, maybe there's promotion and relegation, or maybe there are, there's some way for those teams to move up into the league, whatever, players to move up. There's a good tier 2 system. I feel like that would also, an announcement of that would kind of stymie the negative reaction, right?
I don't think it would in this case, though, because if you're, let's say what actually happens is they have 3 regions from APAC are really well represented, but like, there's no team from the Philippines, for example. If you're a Filipino player and you do incredibly well in that tier 2 system, and there isn't a full promotion, right? You don't get fully put into franchising, but obviously people are going to look at you and try and pull you into their team. Where do you go? You go to a team that is completely from somewhere else, that speaks a different language to you or whatever, or are you going to be, that you can only select people that know a common language like English and get pushed into those teams? I feel like it stops the pathway working as well when you don't have representation across all of the smaller areas.
Oh, well, I'm lost here.
What kind of guidance are you seeking, Bren?
What are people mad about?
It's like if EMEA only had slots for Turkey and France and Spain or something like that, and they were like, but there's German players that want to play, there's CIS, there's other people. You know what I mean? The APAC is not one conglomerate. There are 4 different primary regions within APAC,
and it's one of the most competitive regions.
It's one of the largest, yeah.
But you can see, I think, from the patterns of it, though, like they're prioritizing probably one viewership, like Japan getting 3 slots, where a lot of the player base seems to be like full of viewership collecting over towards that area. That's why the finals of champs is going to be Zeta Division versus Sentinels. It's already, I've seen the script already. People are trying to drive the viewership, you know. But I think this is just the unfortunate reality of franchising, is it not?
I don't think so. I don't believe so. And also, I've been doing some digging behind the scenes, and I've still not got any straight answer from anybody on how they're going to enforce this fucking shit. Like, how is an APAC team an APAC team? How is a Japanese team a Japanese team? Is there a limit to the amount of people that have to be involved from that region? Are they going to get grandfathered in? I've heard some rumblings about restrictions that might be in place, but nothing concrete has actually been put out there as yet. Like, for example, an OCE team, how many players actually have to be from OCE? Where do the boundaries of OCE, like, where are they?
That was
Could you pull somebody in right now and grandfather them into OCE so that you just essentially have like a full Thai team that plays for the OCE slot?
That was completely fucked in the VRL system because they only required 2 players to be part of whatever region VRL you're playing in, but they didn't have to actually be on the roster. So people were like using that loophole like crazy to get into all sorts of different VRLs when they're completely unrelated. Like the Spanish VRL had like 1 Spanish team, if that, like of actual Spanish players. Obviously there was Spanish orgs, but this time around they're changing the rules where it's 2 players have to be from that region on the team, as far as I understand. I think I just saw a rumor about that going around. So I'm assuming they're going to model after the VRL system, where
which would make sense, but also 2 out of 5 is not a large amount. And
No.
so at the same time, like, you are going to get Japanese teams that have 3 Korean players on it potentially, or the OCE team might just have
and even 2 whatever is already, minimizing the regional aspect of it in the first place. I think APAC is going to be the toughest region to deal with this, obviously, because specifically that APAC region that they have only 3 slots. Josh is mentioning there's Thailand, there's Indonesia, there's Philippines, and then there's Malaysia, Singapore, right? And so those are specific regions that have specific teams from them. And if you just have 3, one of those is getting left out. That's the biggest problem out of it. And that's why people are pissed, Bren.
Also, the Singapore Malaysian teams tend to speak English and would easily be able to, like, you could incorporate the best players from that into an OCE slot, for example, and make a Singapore Malaysian OCE team that was actually an OCE team because they had 2 out of 5 or whatever. But they also have the best teams right now. So they're going to be massively represented, I think, compared to some of the smaller regions where English is not as strong of a language. So it's more difficult for you to mingle around with. I think the OCE team is the biggest example of that. Maybe South Asia will have something similar, because otherwise those teams are getting fucking rolled as well. By the way, you put that franchise together, the South Asian and the OCE teams are getting pooed on.
Well, no, the order did pretty decent in LCQ. I don't necessarily think that they made it what, top 5 or whatever, top 4.
Yeah, they did.
Josh, you're forgetting how
they made
when
it
you
5th,
pull talent
6th,
in a franchise system, though, you get it raises the bar for everybody. The weaker teams that get involved. We literally saw the exact same thing with the first year of the Overwatch League.
Yeah, Overwatch League also doesn't have any of these restrictions involved, and that's why you had that happen, because they were able to bring people over, bring coaches over, etc., and all play together in the same environment. I don't think that's going to be the case here.
Why not?
Because you've only got one. Okay, so for example, you would only have, let's say it was 5 players from Oceania, and they moved together and they're scrimming together for a while. That's the same thing that we had happen with Sonics when they moved over to North America. And instead, the team just gets picked to pieces. There's only a couple of players left, and they just end up lounging in tier 2, tier 3 kind of Valorant. I don't think you'll see the same kind of effect unless you get players into the team, and that's what they're trying to push against.
No, because they were getting regular practice against the better teams.
It's not the practice, it's the players. It's learning from other players on your team. That's what improves you, not necessarily practice against other.
I don't know.
Anyways, I'm bored. Oh, so you get to slot.
Yeah. Wyatt hit the nail on the head, though. It does come down into how the tier 2 circuit's going to feed into it.
This is the first taste of the mold we're going to get forever. I mean, this is going to happen in every single region. Obviously, different problems for different regions, but whoa, it's coming, and it is going to be really good to talk about for so long.
All right, really quick, we can talk about Mecca. They announced their free agency. What org will pick them up? G2 perhaps, maybe the Golden Guardians, maybe Misfits. If they're
Astralis.
trying to get a slot, Astralis.
Just spoiler alert, they just won their game.
The quote-unquote nameless football organization that was like leaked in the franchise talks. Potential options, I suppose. Any
Paris
thoughts on
Saint-Germain
this?
had a esports team, didn't they, for a while? What happened to
Who?
them?
Oh,
Paris
Paris
Saint-Germain.
PSG? Yeah, I don't know. No, they still have a Rocket League team.
Oh, do they? Yeah.
They had like a
Get them in
partnership
there.
with LGD in China.
I think that'd be
Dota.
so funny for PSG to have a full CIS team after having the partnership with LGD. They're like the Parisian. It would just typify the idea of the partnerships and regionally based teams and orgs so perfectly to have it mismatched everywhere across the globe like that. I'd love it.
Yeah.
Well, what's been the thing that's preventing people from picking up mech at the moment then? Because they've been free agents, right, for a while.
I'm guessing it's
No?
just the visa
No.
situation overall.
I don't think.
They've just
No,
been
they haven't been
competing
free
under
agents.
mech,
This
but
is
they've been
them.
under-
That's-
now they're properly free agents.
Yes.
Right.
They have
Yes.
no buyout. That's what this means.
Right, but presumably because Gambit couldn't get anything for them.
Gambit were in talks with selling them multiple times. I mean, you've heard, you saw it on Twitter with Chronicle talking
Yeah.
to somebody about it as well.
Is it a logistical issue then regarding visas and the future of these players, like it being so uncertain with a lot of them being able to travel?
There's 1,000 things that it could be, and this is why I hated this Twitter discussion that was happening between Chronicle and somebody else that got blown up on Reddit as well and translated, because the people from the outside speculating that it must be this or it must be that, but there's a billion things that can go wrong with trying to sell a full roster to somebody else. Like, there could be money problems. They could be they only want 3 out of 5 of the players, but the org doesn't want to sell only 3 out of 5 because they have other offers elsewhere. It might be they want to pick up 3 out of 5 of the players, but the players don't want to split up because they think that they'll get better offers elsewhere. The players might not want to relocate because they have family in a certain area or school stuff going on or whatever. There are just a billion different reasons why something like this might not work out, and it's so dumb to speculate from the outside without knowing it.
Yes, I agree. Team Liquid finally get their 5th before the LCQ. We can talk about that quickly. And they got the new coach. They got Doom Bros to be their coach, or other Doom Bros. They got other Doom Bros to be their coach, and they picked up Dimisic as their 5th. I think that's a pretty solid pickup. I like that. I like that. Any other likers of this move? No likers.
I mean, Team of Six a good player. It's just, bro, like, what specifically about Team 6 role makes him work in Team Liquid? I don't understand the logic behind him specifically when there's tons of people who can kind of do what they need. Well, actually, I don't even really know what the fuck they need because they're going all over the place and they still have Team Liquid syndrome, which is just
Dream's
play
still
whatever.
IGLing.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
They're lost. They're fucking
Nice.
lost.
They're
They're like a
playing right
flock
now.
of 5 camels in the desert. But it's the desert is Antarctica.
flock
They
of
got to the desert and then they realized, oh shit, it's the wrong desert. Yeah, there's no precipitation, but it's also -40. And we're in the wrong place. We don't know what's happening. We're playing Phoenix, even though it's been buffed, and we're doing nothing with it. Every time I watch Liquid, man, I can't help it. I want them to lose because they have no idea what they're doing. Because I
That's
can't
not
help it.
nice.
I can't help it. I have this deep thing in my soul that watches them, and I'm like, you guys are so good. Individually, you're so skilled, and the decisions you're making are so bad. I need you to lose just to showcase
Gosh.
that you can't play Valorant like this. That's what happens whenever I watch a fucking Liquid game. It hurts my soul. They are lost.
I think they're 5 nice, kind young lads, and I hope that they do their best. I'm gonna just take. I'm gonna take a hard opposition to your stance, Josh.
You can be the Team Liquid fan then that roots for them and watches them getting picked apart for their excellent players once partnerships comes around, hopefully, unless Liquid gets a spot and decides to transfer the full 5.
I mean,
and then I'm going to mold even fucking further.
They're definitely getting a spot. That surely, right? I mean, I would assume that Team Liquid are going to get an EU spot. First of all, the Team Liquid. Second of all, they're one of the orgs that has been around since the very beginning. Blah 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 blah. Remember when they did the cool intro video? Everybody, remember when they announced the roster?
Oh,
With the
it was
video,
actually
cool video. All right,
Yeah.
they're getting a spot. They made the cool video 2 years ago, so they're definitely in. I would assume that they're going to keep fairly similar roster, maybe exchange a couple pieces.
I don't know, man.
I think they will. I'm not saying that that's the
Josh
best
the
thing to
Jello.
do. I'm not saying that, dude, you're getting like... Josh is
There's another
fucking
gift.
died.
He's gone.
This guy is just a GIF machine. This guy wants to
How
end
did
up
your
on
headphone-
Imgur today. Dude,
Right so far.
this guy is born and made
just-
for 7 TV. But
It's just so sad watching this team. They don't have a vision of what they want to do, and they're going to fail if they keep this same kind of stuff going into partnerships. And I fear that they don't. I don't know. Maybe they don't get it. Maybe the new coach can do something, but it's not for LCQ. I don't think it's like they need to be thinking about next year and what they want to do. I think setting their sights too short, too close range is going to hurt them massively.
Yeah, which is a pit. Sorry, but I was just going to say it's a pitfall trap that I saw. I mean, a lot of this is going to correlate. A lot of this discussions are ramping up into 2023. I'm just going to be essentially applying stuff that I've witnessed already in the Overwatch League, because there are a lot of parallels to take with the way franchising worked in that game. And part of it was teams kind of resting on name value and their laurels a little bit with Liquid and not willing to make hard adjustments and changes to the roster. And that's a danger I could see Liquid falling into, which would be unfortunate, I think, because like Josh said, they're very talented players individually, but sometimes you need a big kick up the ass to actually make the right moves. You know what I mean? You need to file it underneath you. You need a bit of a warning.
all right, let's move on to the actual LCQ of the past week. It has begun in all regions at this point, and you could pick your MVP from any region. These are the MVPs of the LCQ week 1. Do we want to do this? How do you want to do this, Kurt? Reveal them all at once?
I think we can reveal yours and Bren's, and then do Balla and Josh's after.
Okay, let's see the MVP for me and Brennan
Why are
Hook.
you guys laughing? I don't understand.
I don't know. They're dying.
No!
I mean,
No!
I've gone with it.
You clout demons!
No, I don't think this is.
Shroud! They have Shroud!
I don't. He did it. He said the thing. He did it.
said the funny line. Yes.
All right. Now I will say, Josh, I don't think picking Dapper is a clout pick. I think Dapper was nasty. This has nothing to do, dude. This has nothing to do with Sentinels. This has nothing to do with me trying to farm engagement. This has nothing to do with that. Not like this pick. That right there.
What do you mean? This
That's
isn't
a clout pick.
That isn't clout!
Dude, the biggest surprise of LCQ so far has been fucking Shroud.
That doesn't mean he's the
and
MVP.
If you don't agree, you guys haven't been watching the games. It's just me. I'm the only one
I
watching
don't
the
agree.
games. I'm the
I
only one
don't
watching the
agree.
games. Dude, Shroud, seriously, I came into this thinking Shroud's going to be literally getting 5 kills every map. Every single map.
Why would you think that? People that randomly sub, like coaches that randomly sub, have been getting more than 5 kills every
because
map.
the man-
Why
the
would you set the
man's been
bar
thrown-
under the floor?
He's been thrown into the clout team. I didn't expect there to be any sort of work ethic behind the decisions they were making. I didn't expect them to be putting in practice. I thought that this guy hadn't been playing in pro play since, 2014, 2015, fucking eons ago. I thought he was going to get thrown into the Zoomer blender that is Valorant and get 8 alive. And instead, look at the fucking numbers he's put up. This guy has been a core reason as to why Sentinels got their fucking first win in the last 7 matches. And if you disagree, then you're wrong.
He did play. Shroud played really well in the game against Shopify Rebllion. Okay,
They're winning LCQ.
but also, he can't. Dude, he's not. You can't make the argument that Shroud should be the MVP of this week in the world because you thought he would get 5 kills. You thought he would play like you thought there was like a diamond player coming into play for Sentinels. Like just because you can't. That doesn't mean he's the MVP of the world.
It's my MVP, my most valuable player of the first week of LCQ, I think, was Shroud.
You're the guy who ruins these fucking journalist MVP votes in regular sports where they fucking pull random Brennon Hook. That's you.
They're all out anyway, man. They're all out anyway.
You're the guy who doesn't vote for
I mean-
LeBron James.
Yeah, it really
My
is.
MVP.
You're
Dude,
the fucking
I
guy
don't
that they
think-
pull on Family Feud that gives that one answer that no one can guess because it doesn't make any sense. The one guy who says Shroud for MVP.
This makes sense.
does.
You
Okay.
didn't even go for the argument that you should have, which is Shroud coming into the team has actually changed the culture, and that makes him valuable to the team.
I mean, thank you for providing more validation to my MVP. But yeah, I mean, I didn't think it needed anything else. The guy turned the fuck up. He was a core reason as to why they won their match. And honestly, I'm incredibly surprised at the turnaround for it. The guy's been popping off.
I mean,
Dapper's been playing in rare form as well. I respect the Dapper pick. I just wasn't expecting you to go for somebody that has gone 1-1 so far in LCQ.
Thank you.
How can you be the MVP after that?
Why not?
I know, but listen.
Every game has been close.
Wait, Josh. But are they out of the LCQ yet?
No.
Exactly. They're still going.
Nice.
They're still going. And I think that Dapper was just, even though they lost to the Guard, I think Dapper was in rare form in that game. He woke up feeling fucking dangerous in that game.
Yeah, he played nasty.
And he was really good in the second game as well. He's
going through a world swap. I mean,
just an high impact player on many of the rounds. Like he's getting the crucial kills. There are a lot of rounds where he's finding a very important kill to open up his site. I like the role swap. His fade has been fucking awesome. I'm big DARP supporter of this past week. I thought he was nasty. But let's see do Josh and Balla have the same player?
I had to get my shots in because I trolled.
Did you want to do one at a time? They're a little bit different.
Okay, we'll do one at a time. Let's do Balla. Let's pain Josh a little bit more. Let's just pain him a little bit more.
There's no way that
Balla's going with Superman. I mean, this is a very reasonable decision.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's no Shroud, but he's pretty good.
Superman is fucking activated. But Balla, you can wax a little.
I was actually like struggling to figure out who from Faze, because I think like a lot of people have popped off, and obviously Baby Bay in the last game. But that EG game was hard. EG went out, but they looked good, especially in that first series. And he is the guy who pulled them through that. And he then played decently against 100 Thieves, not in the last two maps, but on a role that is just, I mean, over and over, we're seeing crazy controller players drag their teams to insane wins, and Superman did it again. Yeah. There's nothing else to say. This guy was a beast.
Yeah.
Now, should I mention again that I've been living under a rock?
Why? Who the fuck who is your MVP?
I haven't had the chance.
You like only managed to catch up on East APAC games?
Well,
like,
do you want to show them, Kurt, and we'll just kind of go from there.
Okay, let's see this bullshit. Digizine from
what?
Furia.
From Furia.
Hold on. Wait.
And here's my argument.
I like this.
I've been living under a rock. I haven't been watching very many VODs, okay? So I haven't had the chance to watch, I mean, I was catching up on them yesterday since I've given this pick, but I was watching a bit of East Asia. Whoa, Kang popping off. And then I was watching a bit of North America, and I was like, oh, okay. Superman's playing well. Derek, Trent, they're doing quite well for themselves as well, aren't they? And then I thought, listen, why don't I just take it easy, take a chill this week, and I'll just measure based off highlight clips and stats. So instead of putting any form of analysis into it, I chose to play that had a cool highlight clip and some really good stats. So
it's honestly disgusting. I would never do something like that.
I like that a lot. What is this cool highlight clip? I haven't seen this.
All right, look at this one. He kind of is annihilating, and Furia have just defeated two of the LATAM teams to get themselves into the upper finals to play against Crew. And part of it is the fact that Digizine has been added to this team. So I am actually interested to see Furia play against Crew, and maybe there can be a second Brazilian team that's doing something. But at the moment, he is lighting them on fire. He's just destroying the other team.
Should have gone for Kang.
I could have, but instead, does Kang do this?
Yes, Kang did this and more.
He was looking pretty good.
You didn't even watch the clip yet, Bren. What are you talking
he was
about?
like, this and more. Nothing's even happened yet. Yeah, it's
he
actually
popped off.
honestly, it's about...
And then at the end of this, he got up and he started shouting at them like they sucked or something. He said, "You're fucking trash" or something. So listen, I can respect that as well.
I mean, it's about time he's on a more like top level team in that region, to be honest, because he's been pretty solid for a long time. But kind of hovering more around like the, just outside of the like tier 1 of Brazil.
Yeah,
Oh.
It was
he's
in
got
game
better
under
stats than
Jero.
Dapper Shroud and Superman, so he's got to be better than them.
Does he actually? I mean, he's playing duelists and chamber and stuff.
Dude, he's
so-
farming. He's
Yeah.
farming. Look
I
at
think
that.
he probably has the best stats out of any player in LCQ right now. Like,
No, dude,
I don't think that's
Kang.
true. Actually, no. The
You
who
gotta
is
look
it?
at,
There's someone
dude, you
going
gotta look at
utterly
Kang
fucking-
stats.
Kang surely-
Meteor was pounding, wasn't he?
Go on to East.
Yeah,
go
he
on to
pounded.
the East APAC LCQ stats, and dude,
they both have over 300 ACS.
Yeah.
But they've also both played one series.
one game.
So fuck
Yeah.
off.
Well, I mean, what you said was factually incorrect. What Balla said about Dijin having the best stats, it was factually incorrect.
Okay.
I had to
I'll take
actually
this L. I will take this L. It's okay.
Yeah,
I'm okay
the
with that.
MVP
pick, though. I like
the
it.
MVP overall of LCQ is China, though. The MVP of LCQ, just
country.
if you could give it to a collective entity, it would be China, the country,
I mean, they're
because
winning right now.
they're
winning.
dominating alongside Japan.
I mean, they won a.
Dude, Edward
They're
Gaming.
dominating. They beat
this game-
Slayers. They're
I stayed up for this
dominating.
game.
They're
I stayed for the
dominating.
game.
They
They
beat
One-two.
also
DWG in the
beat
lowest as well.
DWG.
They've won 2 out of 3 of their games so far for a region that's never really played like VCT at all. That's pretty good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That one lost.
yeah.
On players were match fixing. I'm
Tim's a
convinced.
hater.
I agreed. Yeah.
I'm just a hater. I
For
don't
real.
know. Like, damn.
Dude,
well,
I'm
I mean,
staying up
just-
tonight
I'm
to
a
watch
hater.
Edward Gaming. The
Play
match is at
against Reject?
2 in the morning. Yeah, I'm staying up for that. I need to
You're a
see if they
moron.
continue. I'm not even kidding. Dude, Edward Gaming might be the future of Valorant. We just don't know yet. We just don't know.
Well,
They genuinely might be the future.
We're gonna talk about Edward Gaming more later. But right now, I want to talk about my favorite team. It's the Sentinels. Yay! Have the Sentinels surpassed expectations? Now, I'm not even gonna bother asking Bren, because Bren's expectations, it was like a ranked pug to come in and just go 0-2, 0-2,
Yeah,
farm
actually,
some
though.
likes and
Yes.
leave. So I
Yes,
know they've
actually.
surpassed Bren's
Back to the pool party.
expectations. But Josh, have they surpassed your expectations?
Well, I should point out that I haven't yet watched them play against Shopify, so that's
Okay.
exactly the wrong person to ask, because I only saw them in the game where they lost against Guard, and they had some good stuff that was going on there. They had some decent game plans, but I think that they had a lot of huge mistakes that they were making, a lot of shakiness coming from Shroud, which apparently he fixed during the Shopify game as well. Maybe just some nerves of him first getting back into it, and yeah, they needed to add a lot more defensive protocols into their play to have any chance of beating the better teams. But I, again, didn't watch the game against Shopify, where apparently they played a lot better. So they haven't surpassed my expectations, because I was living under a rock and had no expectations, and was pleasantly surprised to see that they were still in the tournament when I returned.
All right, Balla, what about you?
Yes, but I also feel like they definitely exceeded my expectations, because things are different now for Sentinels. They actually have protocols. Whether or not they have enough, I think, is definitely something that's up for debate. But they also changed some of the fucking roles that we've been asking them to do forever. They're actually playing chamber consistently. Like, they're
Did Tennis
finally
look good on Chamber in the second game? Because I thought his Chamber looked kind of ass. In
No,
the
It
first.
looks better.
It's so basic. The chamber implementation is one of the most basic things that you could ask for from Sentinels. Very rarely any actual setups, except for like Breeze, where they're just pushing elbow every once in a while. You know, that sort of thing.
It definitely looks better though.
Better than what? They never played. They weren't playing chamber before. They were putting Dapper
it's
on
better
chamber.
than
first
that.
of all.
Better that they have it than they don't. I mean, that's just true.
It was
Oh.
better than the first matchup. I'm saying in the Shopify region.
Oh, okay. Dude, I don't know what to think about this game in general. This is why I'm like hedging a little bit about whether they're exceeding my expectations yet, because Shopify, people weren't talking about this, but this team had COVID the last 2 weeks. Every single
Yeah.
player except for like B-Dog, I
Really?
believe, had COVID, and so they didn't get to practice, and they come into this completely COVIDed up. So I don't know what to think about this game overall, because I didn't feel like there was anybody on this team who was playing up to the level outside of like obviously B-Dog, who didn't have COVID, and Moose, I guess. And they
Moose
went through
did go
this.
Yeah,
crazy.
Moose was looking
Yeah.
nasty.
But Sentinels, to me, didn't look any different than the game against the Guard in terms of any sort of like strats and ideas and stuff like that. They're getting really good at the Viper Molly shot combos, which were popular, 2 years ago.
I mean, that was actually last LCQ. That was literally last LCQ that people started doing those combos, and we're pricing Sentinels for them a year later.
Listen, they're catching up.
They
They got another week of practice. They're catching up. They're learning at a rapid rate.
Though, in the rematch, they looked less flustered to me, like less overall.
Yeah,
crippling.
But they were
mistakes
winning
being
too,
made.
so of course they're going to feel less flustered. They were never really. I mean, they were actually in the overtime against Shopify and Fracture, but
That was almost.
it's the second game, all that sort of thing. Like that's normal. I think that's normal to expect. So I'm not getting excited about that. In terms of strats, I felt like they were the exact same team from game 1 to game 2. In terms of performance, they were different. But I don't know whether that's Shopify, and I also rub that. I say, okay, game 1, that sort of thing.
I didn't see this round, and that just got me that one. Oh wow, that's a good one.
And this is the third OT when that happens. Like,
I have a theory.
I like North America.
I have a theory with Sentinels. You guys ever watched anime before?
No,
like the concept. The concept of like a battle aura. Like you encounter somebody so
I've
powerful.
heard of that in Dungeons and Dragons.
That's a thing from just video games as well, just like an AoE effect that's always on you. Why did you go to anime to explain this? We're all gamers.
Like an aura of intimidation. Like you encounter somebody who's so strong that your body doesn't work, probably your muscles don't move, you're shaking, you're quivering. I think Sentinels might have that right now.
They always have that, Bren.
No. I'm not saying they're the ones shaking and quivering. I'm saying
that's what I'm saying. They always have that. People who play against them always play worse. It's just always happens.
The viewership factor. The fact that honestly, in terms of expectations, I know my expectations are in the fucking ground for Sentinels, but I think it plays a factor when there's teams. Every team that goes up against them, honestly, is expected to win at this point. Like they are, I think, always going to be the underdogs up until with every match that they might possibly play from this point on. Like they should be in. We're going to get onto predictions later, so I'm not going to go into mad detail about it. But I think they are in their upcoming matchup as well. But I think it does play a factor when a team comes together. Zelsis is popping off. Shroud now looks a bit more comfortable, and you've got a team that's now entering almost a honeymoon phase. And they've started to sort out a couple of the mistakes. And you're going up against teams that are now being.
They won one match, Bren. What are you talking about? Honeymoon.
They're in the honeymoon.
But it was also. They were really close against
an
honest game against the guard. A good guard.
It was incredibly close in their matchup.
A good guard?
Yeah, could have won.
That was a good guard?
Dude, Trent got 40 kills. Is that a bad guard?
Were mad flustered. The guard were very flustered in that match, I think, as well.
Yes.
But I think that plays into it. So what do you think is going to happen with 100 Thieves when these young players are going to be going up against them? I think there's a possibility that Sentinels take that game.
I agree with you, but the question is, have they surpassed expectations? And that's they can't have surpassed expectations. No, yes, maybe, possibly. Depends on how that game goes. Yeah, okay, fine.
They are very beautiful to me.
I don't necessarily want to say. I don't know if they surpass my expectations, but they're right around there. I think they're at expectation, maybe a slight surpassing, because the expectation is you would hope that when they're hiring 8 new staff members to get Shazam Sova lineups, whatever the fuck they're doing back there, and Weltis has this like spreadsheets and graphs, probably something like that, and he's using Google Sheets and giving them information, whatever they're doing back there. When they get that much staff and they got the boot camp, they even have Tens boot camping. Tens wants to he wants to stream, but they're boot camping and they're doing I don't even know if that's true. Maybe he might really want a boot camp. I don't fucking know. But
they're all streaming at the boot camp.
They are all making a lot of content there, aren't they? I mean, listen, if they're making content and they got analysts and Raucus is just walking around saying stuff, whatever is going on there. My point is they're putting in a lot of effort, okay? They're clearly trying to make this LCQ, they're trying to have a reasonable showing here. And you could see the flame ignited.
Yeah.
Shazam was also low key. I think he was playing way better than we had recently seen of him. I feel like you could, especially against the guard,
a normal player rather than a liability.
Yeah, he was playing well. Dapper, I mean, to Dapper's credit, I mean, he's just been fucking good for like ever. He had like the Berlin bad tournament, and then since then, I think even at Sentinel's worst points, he was always a bright spot on the team.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So it's not surprising to see him with a team that's trying harder to be even better. Yeah, I mean, I think really I think maybe one of you talked about it with the chamber, but if the 10's chamber starts going a bit crazier and that kind of thing, I think they could take it even further. But I feel like they're at expectation. Like they put the effort in. They're at the boot camp. They have the staff. They're clearly putting more effort in than they did before. They are better than they were before. I mean, so I feel like they're at the expectation right now.
One question, right? Rather than framing it in expectations, Sentinels are a lock for franchising, I think. I mean, who really knows? But they should be based on how long they've been in the scene and et cetera, and how many viewers they get. So what performance do they need to have in LCQ for us to not say blow the roster up by the time it gets to 2023? And we're actually having these conversations.
They did it.
They've already done it. They've already done enough by winning one game against Shopify Rebllion.
Keep this roster forever. It's too entertaining. It's way too entertaining. It's just, dude, I'm thinking about I'm thinking about the health and the life of the game. And also I'm thinking about, dude, next year, wherever the fuck, we're in Madison Square Garden and Shroud and Tens walk on stage. It's gonna erupt. It's going, the fucking roof is gonna blow off the building. That's what I'm thinking about. If you keep this team together, the entertainment value is just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. If this team played an international game, I'm telling you, if there was Sentinels versus Ada Division, 20 million viewers, it would go fucking insane. Like that is the future that I want. So they've already done enough.
Do you talking about the viewership, do you know what the viewership was for the game against the Guard?
It was like 630K or something, just shy of that.
Yeah, it was over 600K. Copenhagen only got 600K in the grand finals. So yeah, I mean, for the health of the game, sure, keep the roster together. But are they gonna get free wins from Riot as a thank you?
Yeah, they get a little stimulus.
Yeah,
like every 10 losses, like every 10 losses, they'll get one win. It's like a coffee redemption thing. You get a little stamp, you get a little card. They lose their game.
That's pretty good.
I mean, listen, I feel like this roster hasn't been around for that long. We haven't even seen its full potential yet. They haven't even pushed it as far as it can go yet. We're only looking at 30% of the potential.
Fair,
Josh.
One thing that actually did surpass expectation was Nelson's implementation. He has been really good for the team, and he's been flexing too, and it's been fantastic. The guy is a beast. He farmed in that Shopify game, and that doesn't just happen because Shopify is bad. It happens because he's a beast. So yeah.
True.
Yeah, he's a good player. I think genuinely they just need a bit more time to refine like the game plans that they have coming into it, but they don't have time. So
we mentioned them briefly, but now we're going to talk about them. The Guard. They played against Sentinels, won that game in close fashion. Are they back in stage 1 form? Are the Guard back? I mean, Trent certainly looks like it. Trent went crazy. He went absolutely bonkers. But Josh is shaking your head no. They're not back in stage 1
I'm shaking
form.
my head because even though Trent went bonkers in the first game, and I don't believe Trent actually did go that crazy against Cloud9, right? But his crazy performances, I felt like the Guard were winning rounds when Sentinels made massive mistakes, and then still actually struggling to get stuff over the line against them when they were playing. When Sentinels didn't slip up and do something horrendous, the Guard were really struggling to close out the games, to get rounds on the board, and they squeaked out those maps. What was it? OT, and then a 13-10, and then another multiple OT kind of game to close things out. And there was moments of the Guard looking fairly horrendous there too, I think. I don't think Side Player's Jet has been looking particularly impressive, although his Chamber has. I don't think this team is back in any sense. I think they're just not completely lost as they were in stage 2, where they didn't have a clue where the meta was.
Treading water.
Was behind it.
That's how I see this team. They're treading water. They're not quite drowning, but they're holding a candle to the other teams that are also just kind of.
You
It
think
feels
so?
like
You
middle of
think
the
they're
pack.
listen, I'm not trying to debate this, but I like necessarily say the opposite. But I just want to make it clear. You were saying that they beat Sentinels 2-1 and Cloud9 2-0, and you just feel like they're treading
Yeah.
water.
Because I don't think Cloud9 are that good of a team. Like, I don't think the Curry switch up has worked. No one's going to disagree with that. Like, just facts. I think even with a bit of time, they
I
still
can't
look like it
even
hasn't.
fucking disagree with that, even if I tried my hardest.
So, and then also they had a really close and sloppy win over Sentinels when they had their players also playing like sloppy animals just all over the place, just writhing in the filth.
See,
So-
In the
Jesus Christ.
Just
what are you doing?
I don't. What do you mean?
I don't know. Yeah. No, I mean, where did that analogy come from?
I don't know. My mind was going places. But the
If there's any team that fucking actually improved from game 1 to game 2, though, like Sentinels minorly, whatever you could say, Shroud was on form or whatever. But if there's any team that like actually you could tell, it was the guard from their first game against Sentinels and their game against Cloud9. 100%. They looked so much better. Not back at their stage 1 form. I would not say that. And I wouldn't say they're treading water too. I think they're in an upward trajectory. I think you could tell that they're trusting each other again in really, really good ways. And a lot of their players are gaining confidence at the right time. Trent and Net specifically. Net in the Cloud9 game was a really, really good player. And whenever he's not playing Chamber, it feels like he's comfortable and he's confident. And if they have that, remember, Net and Saya player at the beginning of this roster were the two guys who were like, oh my goodness, like this team is actually good. And Net was a big part of that. Like he was playing Chamber for them back then, but now he's also playing better on Breach and all sorts of Killjoy and whatever.
Yeah. At what point does them playing their old comps from half a year ago loop back around to innovating on the meta?
But they're not though. They're implementing Fade. They're doing the fucking close to FPX comp or DRX comp or whatever it is on Fracture. They're not just playing their old comps.
Yeah,
the thing is, the problem is they're still playing Ion Jet on most places, especially even when it's bad. And that is a problem, but one that they have to work with because Saya clearly is never going to play the agents that are good.
Stage 1, you had Trent going utterly nasty, and even if Trent keeps up, that level of form, you also had Saya going ultra crazy in stage 1. And I just haven't seen that from him in the entry role since stage 1. I mean, he didn't have any of that happening. I mean, saying he didn't have any of it is too harsh, but they were trying to move him even then into that Chamber role, and they were having continuous problems with how to entry into places. And I don't think that has been solved for them. I think that they've still running into troubles there where they're not getting huge performances out of Saya. And when he ends up playing if instead you want to pull him over and play him on Chamber, which they do in a lot of different places, then I think, well, first of all, they're only doing that on a small selection of their map pool. And then also they still don't have the same depth, I think, to their game plan that allows them to get big value from these plays that they were going for. I really like the way that they were innovating and taking control of the tempo in stage 1 too. They would have some defensive aggressions, some big set plays. They'd be extremely confident in taking duels and going for retakes and stuff like that. I don't see that same stuff from the guard this time around at LCQ, despite the fact that they're winning. It feels like their game plan isn't all there. It's not that they're fumbling the game plan like I feel like Sentinels have been. It's that I don't think it's as fleshed out as they need it to be to go on a run and win.
Do you guys think then that the guard are just in this position where the 2-0 because they have an easier side of the bracket then? Like if they had flipped with Faze, for example, like if they had to beat 100 Thieves, do you guys think that, I mean, you were shaking your head, Ball. Do you think that might be the difference? They just have an easy bracket?
I think 100 Thieves is probably the one team on that side of the bracket that I wouldn't have chosen in terms of like I think that game
I
would
just
be
can't remember. Who did
relatively
FaZe play
even.
first?
Like, they played EG first.
Oh, right. Yeah,
If
yeah,
they
yeah.
played EG first, yeah, no, I don't think they had a chance. I 100% think that the Guard are here because they had an easier side of the bracket. I fully agree with that statement. But that doesn't mean that they're not like still they're not bad. That doesn't mean they're bad. You know what I mean? And the improvement I'm seeing makes it so that I think they can reach that peak again this week. I think that is 100% possible for them to get 2 wins in a row, feel really confident, for these specific players to be coming online. I think that is possible for them to get back to that form. I agree with Josh on all the meta problems and whatnot, but that doesn't necessarily always result in, teams losing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are going to
no.
finish minimum third, and I doubt that they're even the third best team currently. From what I've
Really?
watched, I think that. Yeah, I think I would have FaZe above them. I think I'd have 100 Thieves above them, and I might have NRG up there as well.
Yeah.
Honestly.
NRG and EG I'd have above them.
Really? You'd
Yes.
have NRG above the Guard, but not 100 Thieves, even though 100 Thieves beat NRG?
Oh, sorry. I would have FaZe, 100 Thieves, and NRG above, and then you have Guard here in fourth, and then Balla saying he'd also have EG, and they get pushed down to fifth best.
Yes.
Sorry, I thought Balla would not have had 100 Thieves ranked above Guard.
I'm not happy with the way that 100 Thieves played in that last series,
Yeah.
and just kind of overall, I think that they're good, but they're not incredible, which I think is where I'm at with the Guard.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, let's talk about FaZe though. I mean, do FaZe look like the best team in NA LCQ? At the moment, I would say yeah. Any naysayers to the FaZe #1 FaZe run to champions at the moment? No naysayers.
Man, if they
No
don't make
nays.
it, I'm just going to be so sad because I feel like they're the only team. They're the only team to me that can actually break this problem of North American teams turning up and doing nothing once they get to the international stage. Apart from Optic, obviously, but I mean the second place teams, because they have this unbreakable fire and confidence coming from Baby Bay and Dicey that they've been able to replicate over a significant period of time. This isn't just one flash in the pan from these players. They've had great form off and on for a long time. I mean, super long time, and yet they're still able to bring it out and have been throughout the whole of stage 2. So I think they're the only team that I actually have confidence in could do something, could get out of groups once they got to champions. Every other team, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I think that's
I
pretty
agree with
fair.
that.
What were you going to say,
I don't
Ball?
have-
I was going to say low-key, I felt kind of the same way at Copenhagen. But that's also me hindsight flaring it. But I also think that they're also just the most interesting team. So I will be sad if they don't make it just on that regard alone. Like, I really want to see Baby Bay land. I think that this team is super fast, super interesting to play in certain cases, but they also have just really good track calls. Every single player on this team has something going for them. Flya has a lot of fucking cool little geeky things that he does. Poise is a great IGL. Dicey, one of the best stoppers we have in North America right now. Superman looks like potentially one of the best controllers we have in America, in North America.
Yeah.
There's just so much.
Superman is
to
one
this
of those
team.
players though that if this team was gonna not make it, I think it would probably be off the back of Superman being unable to replicate what he's done so far in the tournament.
Yes,
It's happened in the
Superman
past.
hasn't had like the incredible performance over the whole of stage 2 so far. This hasn't been an awesome year for Superman. It's been a great tournament, and then you've had flashes of greatness in other periods, but he's looking like a real star at the moment.
I do think that they have a problem, which is they rely a lot on Baby Bay and Dicey to keep them in games when their rest of the supporting cast is not performing, not outputting anything. I think that's a major problem. They have like some of the biggest gaps between that duo and everybody else on the team compared to the rest of the teams that are still in it, which is I think a major issue when you come down the line.
Do you think that's a major issue? Because that's also that's somewhat similar to how a team like PaperX would be structured.
Yes, I do. Because they It's more how they play. I mean, they're slowing down significantly. It's not necessarily always, those two players who are finding some opening, right? Their
Sure.
strategy is finding opening, and it's not necessarily always, Dicey making a play like that or Baby Bay finding a multi-kill because of some setup that they do. It's a lot of times it's just a good strat that gets them, the site or whatever. And if that stuff is failing because the rest of the supporting cast isn't producing, then yeah, it is a problem.
Poise is in pretty good form though, with his IGLing at the moment. Like he loves the QB sneaks, but he's mixing them in enough at a time that it is still catching teams off guard. Like it's not frequent enough that it's entirely predictable. But yeah, I like everything that FaZe are offering right now. Maybe the only thing that you could call into question might be just Baby Bay trying to play more Raze with their compositions. That being a more uncomfortable role definitely looks better on the Jet. Like that is his way, way, way best role. Like so far out of everything we've seen so far in playoffs. But
Yeah.
they definitely just look like the best team in NA LCQ right now. I don't think there's any doubt with that.
Even if what Balla is saying, like, let's say that's true for the rest of LCQ, like Superman just kind of goes to like more of a middling form. Is there, or like, how great is the chance of them, I guess, not making it if that is the case? If they end up in a spot where they're very reliant on Baby Bay and Dicey, do you feel like there's another team that could overtake them, Balla?
Yeah. I worry about for FaZe, I worry about the guard reaching really peak form. I don't really see the guard beating them this time around, but they'll have to come at them potentially again in the grand final. If guard is if guard can get where I think they might be going to, then I worry about that. And then also I am really high on NRG. After being very low on them, they impressed the shit out of me this week. They were doing so much more than what I expected. So yeah, I think that NRG can be a threat against FaZe.
Okay.
I think the other team, honestly, that I'd be looking at too is just 100 Thieves. They've had such a rivalry that has been back and forth as well with FaZe, that if they're able to make it through to that point in the bracket, which I think is feasible that they could make it into a finals, then I would expect that series to be close because they've just played against each other so often. It's always 2-1 games. There's always these wild comebacks happening on both halves. It feels difficult to predict, although I'm still favoring FaZe, but I'm saying if there's a world in which they end up going out, it might be because 100 Thieves have been able to figure out what they're up to, make a bit of a low bracket run with Derek still going crazy and Will finding the better end of his recent form, which he's shown like a couple of maps where he's been pretty cracked, and then a lot of mediocrity. If he can find more towards the top end of that range,
best of 3 of Breeze, and then Breeze, and then on the third map decider Breeze, then they can do it. Good, yeah. I mean, that would be
genuinely, the map pool is such a big problem against
that would be helpful
for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, it really is. They just need to keep playing on Breeze infinitely. That's the problem against FaZe. There's not enough Breeze.
Maybe they get
in the pool.
Breeze and Icebox. Like that's somehow that happens.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, we can talk about 100 Thieves more in depth now. I wanted to talk about them in comparison with NRG as well and Cloud9. Some of the teams that, they're good teams. They're hanging around in in the lower bracket. 100 Thieves and NRG had that match against each other. But of these 3 teams, I mean, who has the best shot at actually winning? Because that, at the end of the day, that is kind of really all that matters. I mean, who cares? Who even got second place at LCQ last year in NA? I don't remember. Rise. Oh, yes.
I forgot about Rise.
I mean, they didn't make it to champ. They got second place in the tournament, where second place just doesn't really matter, does it? So first of all, who has the best shot at first place? But also, I mean, I guess we can just start there. Who has the best shot at first place out of these 3 lower bracket teams? Who do you believe in the most? God, I want to believe in 100 Thieves. I truly do. But I am just losing hopium. I am losing hope at rapid rates. I really want them to go deep, and I would love to see them make a run, but I'm struggling. And then NRG, I agree with you, Ball. I think they were looking great in that second game against EG. They were really solid.
The first game against 100 Thieves, they just kind of threw it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Cloud9, I'm just. I think I've already lost belief in Cloud9. Honestly, I think
That's the one that interests me the most.
Don't
though,
have
honestly.
belief, Josh.
No, I know, but the Cloud9 and NRG play against each other, right, in the lower bracket, and so it's only possible for one of them to go on some kind of run. And I think everybody's looking towards NRG as being the team that does that because we can see glimmers of it happening. But I'm constantly befuddled by the fact that Cloud9 are utterly unable to get the same kind of value out of their out of Leaf and Zephyr, honestly, as to what they were able to in the past. In the past, they looked like they had great game plans and great ability to set up those players, and they were just absolutely farming. And I keep kind of waiting for it to happen again, and it just doesn't. But it doesn't all just come down to the fact that they've got Curry on the team or whatever. I'm wondering if we're just completely writing off C9 before they go on some kind of run. They don't look like it. I mean, there is no evidence to suggest that would happen right now, but they have quality players. We've seen them be top quality players.
The sentence you just uttered reminds me of, I'm pretty sure you said the exact same words before FPX went on a run and won Masters 2.
Okay, there is no shot I predicted FPX winning.
No. You said I can't help but feel like we're underestimating FPX. We've never doubted them up until this point now.
That was the top.
Was it the top 20?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Don't ascribe some prophetic bullshit to Josh. He's not that guy.
No.
Okay?
It wasn't Josh. It was Josh saying at the back of his mind, "Oh, why? This is the only time we haven't been singing some of the praises of FPX." Well, I mean, whatever. Listen, outside of that point, I think. I agree with you. I think there's what the thing is on each given day, with each week, the variables shift, the fucking numbers shift, my vision into the matrix wanes. I'm losing grip of reality, and each passing moment of my life, I'm like, at any point you could just see one of these teams turning around, and suddenly Cloud9 are looking like they're going on an absolute tear in the lower bracket. But with what I've got so far, right now it looks like if 100 Thieves can solve this choking problem that they've got, where they seem to be unable to close out advantages when they're getting ahead in maps, they look like they might have a good chance of at least making it into the finals and holding a candle to Faze. And NRG as well. I agree with you, Balla. I think that what we saw out of NRG in that second match looked actually pretty clean. Like prior to that, I remember stage 2 playoffs of NRG. I would look at some of their play and I'd be thinking like, wow, they are really just they're getting by on a knife's edge. Like so many of their rounds were just one off of like half by rounds, bonus rounds, taking risks. This time they look actually really clean. They look really, really clean. So yeah, but with Cloud9, I think I am just clouded by the Curry trade still to this day. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I was like, maybe with a bit of time up until LCQ, they'll have enough time to make him work in the system a bit more. But
the thing is,
not that much hope, do I? I don't know.
There is always a shot. There is always a chance that they can hit the run of form and make a run in the lower bracket. They have the player quality to be able to do so, surely, right? But if you're just looking at the other teams, I just don't think they have a higher, if you're like to break it down like a pie chart with percentages, they would just be lower, the percentage chance of that happening than these other teams to me. I just believe it's possible, yes, but when you're comparing them to the other teams, the chance is lower, surely, right?
Dude, I think if you're breaking down a pie chart, you should be looking at 100 Thieves, though, because the other two teams play against each other. And 100 Thieves, I think, have the easiest matchup in the lowers to go through there because they're playing against Sentinels.
Pepe laughed. I mean, the easiest matchup in the lowers. I don't know about that. Listen, Mr. didn't watch the Shopify game.
Okay,
he's unaware.
Shopify game.
He's unaware.
Maybe I'm unaware. Maybe Sentinels wins this one, and that's a funny little clip for the social media people. But yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I've still got some vestiges of that hope.
Of the Cloud9 hope?
No, of the 100 Thieves hope.
Oh, the 100 Thieves hope.
I'm holding on. Fingernails.
Yeah, I want to hold on. I really do. I mean, I don't even know what I'm holding on to.
They normally
right
look better. They normally look better when they have time to prep against their opponents and prep their own stuff. And they've had months Months?
Months.
Yeah, 2 months of not being
a
able
month.
to see their opponents play. Is it
Oh,
one
yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's about a month and a half.
Right, month and a half of not being able to see what their opponents are running and not knowing like what comps they're going to run, that kind of shit. I don't know how much they would have known about what Faze have done in terms of shifting their style around with the, if the bracket was given to the team. I don't know when that was, but did they know? Were they scrimming against them? Did they have any idea that they were going to have shifted their style so drastically? I think there's still hope here that 100 Thieves are going to look better with the more time they have to look at their opponents.
Yeah,
Sure.
agreed. But I don't think that applies to a first place run because it's, they
You have to win back to back to back to back.
Exactly. It's a
like
playoff
4 days in a
bracket.
row.
It's not weeks. It's not the regular season. Like when I think their prep is at their best, and they have the opportunity to be at their best.
Yeah,
Faze are winning anyway. Faze are winning anyway.
That's the
It doesn't
problem.
matter.
They have
Faze are
to
winning.
They have to beat to win. You have to beat. They have to beat Faze, or the other option
Yeah,
is
100
like
Thieves look like they're
the
on the
guard
cusp of
go
that.
even further up the hierarchy, right? I mean, that's kind of your two options for the potential.
Well, any
team
of
that
these
you're
teams
waiting
have
on
to
in the
beat
final.
Faze and the guard.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
an actual reality.
Yes.
So
100 Thieves were on the cusp of beating Faze.
The cusp
Until
is a nice way of
fucking-
putting it.
Until Baby ripped the line
Yeah.
and fucking put up 313 ADR in the second half of Ascent, they were on the cusp of beating them.
But was that, dude? That wasn't just Baby Bay fucking going crazy. That was 100
Look on
Thieves making
defense.
just no. I
Dude.
I agree. Baby went crazy. That is a fact. But I'm not saying. I'm saying it's not because Baby Bay went crazy that they got stomped. It's because also Baby Bay went crazy and they fucking shit the bed. They played awful
They,
on that.
they have a
half.
they have a bit of a choking problem, I
he
think.
went Fazy on him.
Fazy.
He went Fazy. That's
I did hear
awful.
Fazy, and I was like, okay.
Go on.
I'll
I
roll with
did
it.
not mean to say that.
Okay. I thought. I mean, that was like a Van Silly tier pun. But go on, Bren.
Dude, if you pull up that VLR page again and go on Ascent, and then you sort it by the halves, you just look
No,
at the
you have
attack
to do-
half.
Oh, you can do that.
Yeah,
can.
Wait,
Yeah.
when did fucking
Right
VLR
there.
add that
Click on
shit?
attack.
Let's go.
VLR's
Look at
had
Baby-
this
look at
for
Baby there.
like
And
a
then defense.
year.
Look at the difference here. I mean, the guy was just putting up fucking ridiculous
yes.
numbers. Now, listen, I'm not saying that was the sole reason because, like Balla said, they choked. Like there was this. They played awfully, and they do have a bit of a problem with that. I think that's a recurring theme of 100 Thieves, was just the players that with the inexperience they've got.
Listen to yourself. They have a bit of a problem with playing awfully.
They have the best shot in first place as long as they can stop this small problem where they play awfully.
I think they just let leads slip away from them, and they let it get to them a little bit too much.
I'm
Like,
not even sure that was choking though. I watched the VOD back, and I'm not sure that they had a good game plan or not a good game plan. I don't think they knew how to get from the beginning of the round to their game plan. The interim portion of we are now taking map control, they would just get rolled by someone just peeking them and destroying them, and they didn't have enough. They didn't have players out. They didn't have the right spacing. They didn't have any utility pressure onto like Baby Bay in this position at all. They're just jogging towards him. Like, I'm sure market's going to be open, right, guys? We're going to be allowed to do our B exec for free, aren't we?
There's no team
That's not
that
a
gets
choke.
rolled.
They're just.
No. But
they're just
I
not
think
thinking.
it's a feature of inexperience from the team, because when you're like this in terms of just the amount of experience you can really pull from in moments like this, when Baby Bay is ripping your heads off, you default into the stuff that you've planned and prepped because it's been drilled into you. They're a team that are super drilled based, I feel like, out of any other team in the tournament right now. And so they're really susceptible to just getting rolled by those inoptimal plays, the quote unquote inoptimal plays, where somebody will swing and take a confidence peak. And outside of that, they do look like a good team when they're not being rolled in that fashion, when the unexpected isn't happening to them.
They're also just shit at Ascent attack. I mean, they just have been repeatedly bad at this map on attack. And then if you've got Baby Bay in form, they're just not.
How long have we been on this topic? I feel like we've just.
No, not.
I feel like it's been years.
Not long enough.
Not long enough, honestly. I'm seeing the passion. I'm seeing the fire igniting in this 100 Thieves discussion. I mean, but I also what Ball said earlier, though, I do think the maps are a problem too when they're playing against Faze, and it's just it feels like an inevitable situation. And even if you're just going to write that as I feel like even if you're going to write that as like a Baby Bay goes crazy in the second half, like it's not like that doesn't happen. That happens frequently. I mean, that is often the case that it's not just the duelist diff against 100 Thieves. That's going to happen against a lot of the fucking teams that they're going to get crazy duelist diffed by the Baby Bay dicey game. I mean, that just happens a lot. And that my hope is small. There's a little bit there. There's a little bit of hope, and I am hoping, but it's just so small.
I'm gonna do something sacrilegious here on this podcast. Sean, I have to criticize Sean too, because he fucking burned his timeouts. He burned the 2 timeouts that they had, and they had no chance to talk to their coaches. And they're just like, oh, let's fucking go do the same strat again. Let's try to walk up cat. And it just, they had no clue what they were doing. I'm pretty sure it was early in the first half and then late in the first half. If not, then it was early in the second half and it just didn't.
Gotcha.
Was it burning the timeouts? Or when I think of these teams, I think there's no team that would benefit more from the amount of timeouts being doubled for everybody than 100 Thieves.
Well,
just because.
So what? You want to implement a rule change? You want to implement a rule change so that 100 Thieves will LCQ? What's his point? Where's this going? We have been on the topic too long. Bren's trying to tear apart the rules document. He wants to redo the fucking format. What are you talking about?
My brain does this. My brain does this where I'll skip like I've gone through this entire thought process and I'm trying to think of the shortest way to possibly say my point, and yet it's skipped about 5 points in between. And so I've given you this point, and you guys are looking from the outside in like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Why is he talking about changing the rules of the timeouts? No, I just the point I wanted to get across to that is that I think here's a scenario that I could have seen happened, right? Early on in the second half, fucking the vibes are down. The vibe shift that has not been survived in the comms. The players are down on themselves. And Sean has to come in there and sort them out. But he's also trying to also remind them of this that they practice, all this. There's probably so much that they have to solve in that moment that they can't, they like I said, they cannot pull from the experience of prior matches, that veteran presence that a lot of teams normally have. That veteran presence comes from the coaching staff and structure, less so than the players themselves. I mean, if they played a lot of matches, sure, but you know, you look at some teams like NRG, for example, you've got players like Faze who will be able to take a moment in a game outside of a timeout and be able to settle maybe the nerves of 1 or 2 players or whatever, or actually correct some stuff. With 100 Thieves, that I feel like that comes from the timeouts in particular, more so than any other team.
T1 has David Denis too. Like it's
he gave a lot of help. He helped a lot. Timeout or no, he was given help.
They took a timeout round 17 when it was 9-7 after Faze had won the pistol round and the bonus, which I think is the perfect time to take a timeout, right? But it just didn't do anything.
Way to fucking just ruin my narrative. Okay, Josh.
Yeah, all right.
Get down, Mr. President! I won't let you shoot bullets at Sean.
I want to give a little memorial service for our fallen North American teams of EG and Shopify Rebllion. They've both been knocked out. The year is over, unless they want to sign up for, I suppose, third-party tournaments, but I don't know. I don't know if that's even going to be happening. What we're really looking towards is just, you know, the future and franchising. What is the speculation on what the fuck is happening with these rosters? Shopify Rebllion, we know that organization is not getting into franchising, so I would assume that roster is, we've sadly seen the last of it, and players are probably going to go their separate ways. That seems like a bit of an inevitability, right? Like I think B-Dog will find it. B-Dog should find a team, and Moose should find a team, and Tig has had great performances, and you know they've got good players on the team, good IGL. So you know, I'm sure they'll find individual places to go. But what about EG? I don't really know what to think.
I think they might have encountered 2 of the hardest teams in the tournament and gone out in 2. Like this is a bit of a skewed perspective, I think, that they've gone out in 2 here, but they go up against Faze and NRG, and I think NRG looked really fucking clean in that second match. So I think it just might be the nature of that one. This game was painful to watch as well, just in terms of just how one-sided a lot of the halves ended up being. But yeah, I mean, it was incredibly close against Faze. I mean, we've been going on and on and on and on about how good Faze Clan have been and how they are the clear favorites, but you know, a lot of close maps in terms of EG being able to actually just take it and go ahead. But yeah,
I think. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say it's unfortunate, I think, mainly as well to go back onto Shopify because these guys have been playing with COVID and this was the last chance, I think, to really showcase as a roster what you can do. If you want any chance of being picked up as a wholesale roster moving forwards into 2023, then LCQ was probably the best chance for it. And the circumstances were, I mean, it's pretty dire, right? Like a lot of them having COVID, they're not going to be playing at 100%.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest though. If you're an EG or a Shopify Rebllion, you have to win LCQ for anyone to even be considering picking up your full roster for 2023, in my opinion. Because otherwise, you're going to be able to build better rosters than this once people are, or once you have the capital to be able to do so, or there's more people in free agency and you don't have to pay ridiculous buyout fees. But I think it behooves both of these teams to play in those third-party tournaments. This shouldn't be the last that we see of these guys because as free agents, they need to keep the memory fresh of how good they are. You know, if you're somebody like B-Dog, for example, or Apoth or Jorgamo, or whoever from these teams, you want to be playing frequently, actually, at the end of the year as much as you can and continuing to talk to teams that are coming in and trying to build free agent rosters because you are actually some of the hottest prospects around, but people are going to forget about you if you don't have the name value. And these guys don't have name value. The players on EG and Shopify Rebllion are not big names, even though they are big players. Who's the biggest name on these teams? Like, I don't even know who that would be.
That's a great question.
Maybe Moose,
but there's good
'cause he's been
players
around for so long.
Yeah, I don't
I
think they
guess.
have name
Dazzle
value,
because he
though.
had good CS:GO brand or presence.
I suppose these aren't enormous names, though, are they?
No,
but
they're not.
the player quality. I mean, if you were going to try and build a free agent team, you would really want to be trialing people like B-Dog, like Apoth, like Jorgamo, like
Bustio, fucking
yeah,
proven
Bustio as
IGL.
well. Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, and he's been IGLing too. Yeah, that's a.
But you've
hot
got to keep these
commodity
things
player.
fresh in people's heads as the GMs, whoever they may be, start thinking about next year. Because if
Yeah.
people try and pick up only full rosters for next year, they're gonna get rolled by some better
For
like
sure.
super teams
For
that get
sure.
created. And you want to be on one of those tier 2 super teams.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, Bustio should be a red hot commodity for the end of this year. Even though he can, I mean, the individual skill and the IGL factor. That's yeah. I mean that.
And the role. I mean,
yeah. I mean he'd be a great pickup. I didn't really think about that, but that is a very good point, Balla. I really quick, just at the end of this, we're we've wrapped up the NA LCQ. Just I kind of want to just a little temperature check. Are you guys feeling confident about NA right now after watching this LCQ? Has this moved the opinion at all? Like, are you guys feeling good about NA, bad about NA, just kind of Because I'm feeling kind of
Not
meh.
as much. Yeah, not as much compared to previous times. Like watching it feels like very scrappy overall. A lot of instances of you'll see just teams just fall into pieces at halves and letting advantages slip away from them or mistakes being made. There's not been one clear dominant team. Every game has been close, which you can put down to like just the nature of like, oh, the competition's being raised. Everybody's competitive against each other. But there's enough of the sloppiness in there, mistakes being made, that it makes me a bit worried.
Also, you think about last year at LCQ, you had two teams that no one was expecting completely in the finals. You had this great run out of Rise, who that was the event that made people care about them as a team and showcase how good they all were. And then you had that wild lower bracket run from Cloud9, where they just smoked everybody. They just turned up and went crazy. So remember, we're only at the halfway period of the tournament. If there's going to be some team that goes on a crazy lower bracket run, whoever it is, they have yet to actually showcase that and yet to make us excited about them heading in.
Yeah.
When you think about LCQ from last year, you think about the teams that went on the bananas run and won. You think about the Cloud9s. You think about like Liquid from EMEA, where they got in Nevada and they were playing fantastically with the double op setup and everything. Like this is a tournament where the top two teams are not playing. Right? It's always going to be a little lower level, but you wait for one of those teams with spectacular form to show up. It might be Faze, might be, but
I don't think
I'm
that
waiting for
there's
someone else.
I think the difference is that there's none of the like idle teams. Like in last year's LCQ, we had 100 Thieves, we had Cloud9, and we had like Exet, I guess.
Exet.
Yeah, and they were all teams that I think people wanted to be excited about, especially 100 Thieves, who just came off of the Berlin thing. Where now we have none of the international contestants outside of the guard, and they just went out twice. They didn't even win a single match. and that certainly hurts. But I mean, in terms of actual like level, you know, I'm losing a little bit of the hotness that I was at when it was after stage 1, because I felt really good about NA because of version 1, because of the guard, because it really felt like we were finally in a culture shift. And I think we're still in that culture shift. I think it just takes time for all these teams to rise up. Right now, I feel like we have the highest floor with all the average skill of all these teams. I mean, EG, we still have this topic up, but EG to me was like a top 4 team of this event, and they went out in 2 because they played 2 of the best teams, I think, in this event. So like, I think multiple teams, I'm like, these guys are doing it right, and that makes me happy. But obviously, they're not winning, so that sucks.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I was really hoping for more from Shopify Rebllion too, as well. But obviously they had
they got fucked. So
yeah, they had some bad circumstances with COVID and everything.
Because
and
I will never.
I was hoping for more. They're a good team.
I will never hate on anybody who fucking has COVID in an event anymore. If they have COVID, I'm telling you, I've had it now. I'm just, bro, I'm not fucking, these guys are playing through COVID, and it's the craziest shit I've ever been part of in terms of sickness. So I don't understand how people are doing it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. COVID sucks.
Victor, I want to formally apologize to you, Victor,
from having COVID.
I'm sorry. That shit sucked.
It definitely. Yeah, I don't like COVID. I don't like COVID. But I do like Grubhub, our sponsor for the show today. What a segue! Thank you, Grubhub, for sponsoring. For sponsoring the show. Use code PLATTEN for $10 off your order of $25. That's code PLATTEN. Yeah.
Platten or Platten.
What it is it's the French pronunciation. It's the French Plat. You know, Platin. You know,
yes, it's silly pronunciation. Or like,
so is it supposed to be Plat 10?
Well,
for
it's
$10
Plat 10,
off?
but it's also, you can think of it like this weekend, I think 100 Thieves might platten my hopes and dreams. Like, that's another way to possibly to think about it. But it's Plat 10. Use code PLAT10 for $10 off your order for $25 plus. Grubhub fuels your gaming performance and rewards gamers in and out. We take pride in being the connector between you and your favorite local restaurants. The Grubhub guarantee promises you food delivered on time or at the lowest price. Guaranteed, or we'll make it right. That is live from August 9th to the 11th. That is code PLAT10 for $10 off your order of $25 plus. Oh wait, or it's from August 10th to 14th. There's some. Try to use this code at some point from the 9th to the 14th because I'm seeing some conflicting information. And today's the 10th. Okay, from the 10th to the 14th, then that would be the ideal time to use code PLAT10.
So the Grubhub guarantee is not affiliated with the Plat Chat guarantee whatsoever.
Yeah, no, very different. The Grubhub guarantee is more of a guarantee. The Plat Chat guarantee, minimal guarantee with that guarantee, but the Grubhub one, they'll make you right. So thank you for thank you for sponsoring the episode. Grubhub code PLATTEN for $10 off. Code PLATTEN.
You're trying to do a sponsor read, and Brent's trying to figure out how math works. He's like, $10 off 25. That's pretty large. That's quite big.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, ooh.
That's actually. That is a significant amount of money off of the $25. That's like 40% or something.
I don't know math, but that's like big.
It's got to be something like that, right? I mean, that's a lot of money.
What could you spend with that $10 that you're saving on this? I mean, I would probably buy like Pokemon cards.
You can put that towards getting Reaver 3.0, baby. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah!
Oh, you guys see the Karambit spinning it around? Little stabby action. It's pretty cool.
The hype for that skin pack has reached absurd performances on social media. I'm looking at the timeline and people are like, dude, I got a feeling that the shop's going to crash. Buy your V-Bucks now. Buy your Riot Bucks now. The shop's going to crash. You got to jump on this now if you want to get the Karambit. And it's like, people are going crazy for this.
It was I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. I opened Twitter and it was like going more viral than the FBI raiding Mar-a-Lago. It was just infinite tweets about this Reaver 3.0 skin. I'm like, what the fuck? People really like this skin pack, I guess.
That's such a problem with people. That is just what's
So when are we
wrong
going to
with
talk
the
about
world.
the economic and political state of the world?
No, I don't want to talk about economics. I want to talk about Edward Gaming. It's time to talk about Edward Gaming. Fucking Edward Gaming, dude. Are Edward Gaming going to be the first Chinese team at LAN? Are they going to do it from the underground scene? Now they're on the main stage at the LCQ.
They're playing tonight.
Dude, that logo,
Dude, look at them go.
that's a logo.
I have never seen it, but also they give me such the vibes that they play with in this game versus on Slayers. First of all, me and Balla are in agreement. Some sort of match fixing going on. On Slayers, dude, what the fuck what was going on with On Slayers in this game, man? Like, I'm sorry, I didn't pull any specific clips, but if you can pull up just general highlights, I think it will tell the story perfectly. Because KMG Kang, right? That's his name.
Kang.
He was doing he was like Dicey if Dicey was not told the limitations of his character. Because he was just pushing with an operator into just ridiculous positions. And also, they were playing like a pack of like rodents that were cowering from a hawk towering above them. There were multiple moments where they were just contacting into everything, grouped up as 5. Look at the comp that they're running. They're running like a classic neon comp, and they're so scared. They're contacting here. There's no jiggle peeking. And look at Kang here. He's like, oh, well, we're going to push into tunnel together. We're going to watch this. I've got an operator. I'm posting myself up onto this angle right now. And they are just contacting all the way in.
If you ever need a game that shows you a confidence diff between two teams, show people this one. Just show people this one.
Edward Gaming is the future.
Obvious example.
They're the future,
No,
but I do need to see them play against a better team. I need to see them play against a better team.
This was the first time On Slayers have played without arguably their two best players.
Yeah.
Zumba and King had just left.
Yes.
And this is the first time that they've played against them. And that's
fans
the
of
only
Korean-
game that we're basing this off of. Our
Fans
Edward
of
Gaming
Korean-
going to
okay.
LAN based off this game.
But Edward Gaming are the best team in China.
Yes.
And Damwon just lost to the second best team in China.
Yeah, and Northeption gave them the dick and ball plattening of their lives.
Okay, but what
They
I'm saying is,
absolutely plattened them.
what I'm saying is that got to listen. On Slayers, they're not playing with Zumba. Zumba's in military service. They lost King. I think King's just taking a break, right? Or something like that. But
Vision Strikers pull them back. The classic fucking mogul move.
oh yeah, just a monopoly over the entirety of their scene, just making sure that they weaken everybody else so they stay on top. Yeah, I love that conspiracy theory. The Edward Gaming though, they play tonight. I need to see them play against a better team. What?
Fucking tinfoil theory. What are you talking?
Dude, King's loan expired, so he went back to DRX. He's just sitting on the bench in DRX. When have you heard that before? Lucky was sitting on the bench.
Wait, is that actually? That's why he's not playing?
Yes.
Is it actually?
Fuck yes.
Dude, I thought you were joking.
Wait, have you just made this up?
No, okay.
I thought
don't
King had
know.
military service.
I don't
We
know.
got to be making this shit up. No. I'm pretty sure
He's
Zumba
just not had
military
military
service.
service. King, his loan actually expired. That is factual. His loan actually expired. He's back on DRX. But whether or not he decided not to go again because of mental whatever, if he's taking a break, that might be true as well. But and that might be the primary reason why he's not going back to On Slayers. But also, does that not tell you that he doesn't want to fucking play for this team? Huh?
I mean, yeah, he's had enough. Well, after the Phoenix Reno thing, whatever was going on, he's had enough.
Dude, you want to watch the future of Valorant? Tune in tonight. Edward Gaming versus Rebel. You want to see the fucking future of Valorant? You tune into that match. And I'm telling you, this team, they were playing with so much confidence. They are literally, it kind of encompasses, I think, as well. A lot of times you see these Chinese teams explode in various esports, and they are just relentless with the aggression. They are relentless. The support staff, like the support teammates that are supposed to be supporting a lot of the duelists, a lot of the players who are going in first, were just right beside them, always ready to trade or even just take point and just make sure that they take the fight first. It's like almost they've got like personal in-house wagering going on to see who can get the most first kills. That's how this fucking team play. They are insane. And I'm just curious, how are they going to stack up against the better teams in this tournament? Because that kind of confidence, it can be enough to just carry you all the way to the finish line and beyond. I'm not going to lie. It really can.
If you start playing against a team that shoots back, you're not going to be able to have that level of confidence.
This is a shooter game. First and first most.
And Onslayer weren't shooting at them.
They forgot how the game was played. That's understandable. But listen, I think when you are getting run over, when you're getting barreled over, No one, listen, it's hard to get the confidence levels back up. You think, how many timeouts do you think it takes to be able to just stand up to this? You know, when you've got the Sage player on Edward Gaming just coming in and they're just
You've gone off screen.
swinging, man. They're just swinging, taking shots, fam, taking shots. And they're just trading it out perfectly. My headphones are unplugged. I can't hear any of you. But listen, these guys,
We're not talking though, because you're ranting and raving, dude.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know if you were adding anything. All I'm saying is this team very fun to watch, worth staying up if you because they're playing tonight. If you're watching live, so
Stay up and watch the upper finals though. Watch them actually play against a top 3 team from Japan.
this is the upper semis.
Yeah, but wait for them to play in the upper finals, man. Rejects are not good enough to actually give them a proper test, I don't think. They've got some good players on the team, don't get me wrong. Reject are not a bad team by any means. I think it's going to be fun watching like Takajay and Medusa, Raider play against these guys. But I don't think that I don't think that they're going to get tested until they play against Northeption, Crazy Raccoon, or I guess that's it, actually.
No, I would say
it.
tune in. Don't listen to Josh. It's going to be fun.
It'll be fun. Don't get me. It'll be fun. But people are gonna go. Okay, all of the people on Reddit who thought Korea was the next coming of the gods in this game, all of the people that would type on everything being like, just wait, without understanding that you actually need a large player base to get good players and good teams coming out of the region. All of those people that love being the elitist pricks that know what's coming next, they have jumped on the China train, and that's because of you. You are just encouraging more people to be elitist fans of the Chinese underground. Every Twitter analyst wants to be the first to say, I saw them coming. I used to watch them back when they weren't even known as EDG. I used to watch them back when they all had to play on the fucking whatever servers, and we watched them with a 90% packet loss.
The Onslayer game wasn't a good litmus test. I think the fucking Egg Infusers could have beaten Onslayers in that match.
I think
I'm not even kidding.
Okay,
I think we could have fucking beaten them.
Now Bren's
Did you watch them play? Did you watch that game, Josh?
I think we
Did I watch your game?
No, did you watch Onslayers?
Oh, yes, I watched the Onslayers game. I thought you meant, did you watch the Egg Enthusiast game?
You
where
watched your
IGL
match?
lost.
Dude, I don't want to talk about it. You're actually going to get me in a depressive state.
I think we'd win that. I think, honestly, Balla diffs God dead. We win that. He diffs him and we win.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I think it's true. I think Bren is actually factually
Bozzy
correct.
can't hit a fucking crouch player. I'm pretty sure he won't be able to hit my fucking neon that I'm going to bring out. So, yeah.
Oh God!
This team is fun. This team is fun, and they have a serious shot of actually winning the LCQ. But I think the favorites still are Northeption.
He just popping swinged him. He just popping swinged him.
Everything, Bren.
Don't ever say those words in my. I never want to hear those again, Bren, out of your mouth.
Everything Bren is how Bren is feeling right now is how I felt when I was watching Northeption beat Zeta in the finals in Japan. This is how I felt then, and since that moment, misery, just misery.
Exactly. I need to drag you all down to earth so that you avoid the feelings of misery.
Here's what I felt when I watched them. I felt like I was watching Paper X fucking back in 2021 play against whoever the fuck they played against to qualify for Berlin. Mm-hmm. That's what I felt. I was like, oh shit, like these guys, okay, some good fundamentals. Where are the strats? Yeah. Oh, there's no strats yet. Oh, okay.
Pure fundies.
No, okay, cool. Like that's how I felt. And so it's a long way to go still, in my opinion. But they're fucking good, and it's a great start for China.
Yes, it is.
I do love it though when a team rolls around and it's a casual reminder that listen, everyone's got a plan until they get their fucking head ripped off by a vandal. Like that is just a fun. That's what I love most about Valorant is that listen, we could go on and on and on about the strategy of a game of a team, but at the end of the day, if you have a cracked aimer, if the entire team is cracked aimers, they're going to hold a candle to a lot of the other teams that are trying to go for strategy, dude. This is the pure premise that's been missing. We have been overlooking it constantly in ranked 5 duelist comps. Why do you always lose against 5 duelist comps? Why is it every time you go up against that shit, they run over you? It's the fucking that confidence-driven game because we're playing an FPS. Because we're playing an FPS game. If you shoot them in the head, they will fall.
If there's anyone from Riot listening, I know occasionally some of the devs listen to Plat Chat. Please, are you able to look at the win rate data of 5 duelist comps? There's no world in which it's over 50%. There's just no world. It's just your brain thinking. You'll just remember the occasions in which you lost to 5 duelist comps because you feel ashamed. You feel a deep soil of your soul that you lost those games.
You only remember the bad beats.
Way higher than you think. I think it's.
Where would you put it?
35%.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be higher than that because it'll happen so often at low levels where it's just a coin flip.
Dude, I think it's going to be like close to 50.
If we made the cutoff gold and above, or platinum above, or whatever, then
between Plat and Immortal 1.
I forget that Josh doesn't play the game. I forget that he doesn't know the fact that you have to be a fucking psychologist when you play ranked solo queue, and you have to keep your team's mentals in check. I forget that this guy actually is just a fraud show in the flesh. I really do forget these factors. The guy goes on a pilgrimage to the UK, touching the hills of Yorkshire, and he comes back trying to spout that he knows better than me when it comes to the psychology of the average rank player. I was fucking molded in the Fires Vene solo queue. All right, you little egg. So don't even come. Don't touch me when it comes to this. The 5 duelist comps have just a mental difference over you. When you encounter that, those players have already let go of their fucking bodies. They're having out-of-body experiences. They've given up on the game. They're not coming. They are just operating off of pure instinct and running over people. I guarantee you that shit has a higher win rate than a lot of other comps.
Well, yeah, I mean, like 5 controller comps, sure. Yeah, I think probably is doing better than that. I mean, there's no way.
5 controller comp? How many controllers are in the game?
I don't know.
Enough. 5?
5 controllers in a cipher. Whatever is going on. 4 in a cipher. Yeah. My point is, it's seriously, it's just like poker. You remember the bad beats, but you don't remember when you deal them out to other people. Like Bren, there are so many times where you play against a 5 duelist comp, and every time at the beginning of the game, everyone thinks the same thing, which is like, oh dude, here it comes, right? But then you just win like 13-1 because it's a shit comp.
People always say, what is their comp? And then you get fucking rolled by
You need to stop playing in EMEA Plat, okay? You need to come play with the big boys where we can beat 5 duelist comps. Please. Just get good.
Play with us. I fucking play in our 5 stacks, and we fucking lose to shit fucking 5 duelist comps all the time. So
don't give me that shit, Josh. Don't give me that shit. Don't gaslight me like this. Don't gaslight me like this. Don't give me this shit.
Dude,
Edward Gaming.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Edward Gaming, anyone?
Okay. Where's Bren going?
Bathroom. He's thought about 5 duelist comps and he needed to go and piss his pants.
Okay. I mean, well, the next topic is the predictions, but Bren left. So, like, I mean, let's just start it. We can just look at the bracket and the teams, and we can just run over them. We can run over the East Asia LCQ predictions here real quick. Let's pull up the old bracket and see what's going on. I mean, I'm sure if Bren were here, he would be going all in on Edward Gaming, but I know what that's like. I know what the false hope is like. I'm jaded. I've experienced happiness,
jaded,
and I've just seen it get just whisked away in such rapid speeds. There's no
I do think Ed would
happiness
win
left.
this game, though. I
Against
think Ed would win the game
Reject?
against Reject. Yeah, I think they win this one. I think Ed would need to play against somebody like a team that's up at the pretty much towards the top of this LCQ to get beaten down a little bit. I think they're just going to be able to smoke a lot of the teams in the middle of the pack. I think Reject is still more towards the middle of the pack of the teams that are left.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Edward Gaming's just sheer confidence and the fact that all 5 players on their team are mad skilled is going to be able to win them this game.
I just feel like we're destined for. I just think North Epson are going to win. I think North Epson will win. Bren.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I don't. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I missed half of East Asia LCQ. I was only interested in China. So I don't have much to add onto the prediction. I just think Edward Gaming are going to take it all.
You think? Well, yeah. Okay, sure. That's
Because
fine.
if you think about it, if you try and think about this analytically, right, North Epsilon should match up better against Crazy Raccoons. They should beat them. There's going to be North Epsilon versus Edward Gaming, if what I'm saying is going to be true in that upper finals. North Epsilon, I think, again, are another confidence-based team. What happens when two unstoppable objects collide?
Meteor destroys them.
Yeah,
Right,
it's not two unstoppable objects,
you think
though.
Meteor destroys them.
I think
the North Epsilon
Meteor is going to have a great game against them. Yeah.
North Epsilon are a Ford F-150, and Edward Gaming are coming in on the tricycle. Like it's not two.
it's not.
Man.
With training wheels, 100%. Fuck yeah, I agree.
It's a freight train. What are you guys talking about?
Hey, guys, it's not a freight train.
Guys, hey, any other Edward Gaming enthusiasts, get a load of these fucking guys. We'll start our own podcast. We'll speak the truth.
It's a Ford F-150 coming in and a Fiat 500 on the other side. It's a smaller car, but it's still going to do a lot of damage, and it could end up knocking the other one off the road.
Meteor ints. What do you think this guy is?
Go on, Bren. Tell me
Meteor
more.
goes to his signature play, his signature move, his very special move, where he likes to go into spawn and take a fight alone.
Yeah.
You think he's not going to get traded out?
No, he's not going to get traded out. He's going to kill both of them.
I think he'll win the aim duel like 50% of the time, and then the times that he kills one person, he's
50% of
instantly
the
getting
time.
traded.
Look at his stats.
Look at the
50%.
Kang! Look at this dude.
Yeah, Kang is crazy.
They're just playing against he was playing against. I mean, he was playing against. Okay, he was playing against non-slaves. It's a big difference, Bren.
Yeah,
large difference.
I do think as well. Small sample size.
To be fair, Meteor played against K1, so I'm not saying that K.
Look, dude, we don't even need to look at those Meteor. We saw what Meteor did on LAN. We saw what Meteor did against the LAN teams.
You're right.
All right.
Right. Yeah.
Big
against FPX. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen.
I think both of those teams are still going to be in the finals, though. It's going to be EDG North Epsilon in the finals, I think.
You think
unless
so?
Crazy Raccoon, unless Crazy
Japan,
Raccoon do something. You think what? Who?
I'm going North
Crazy
Epsilon.
Raccoon are gonna
I
all the way back through?
I don't care who, but it's Japan. I think I think top 3 is going to be Japan.
Tops all Japan.
Yep.
No, I have more faith in
Ball's
Edward Gaming
convinced me,
than
dude.
that.
Rejects are going to beat Edward.
Oh, okay. I'm on Bren's team now. I'm on
Rejects are
Bren's
gonna
team.
beat
I didn't
Edward.
realize while
What you
shitting
do,
on
man?
Bren that everyone else was even further out that way. I've shifted the Overton window too far, and now I'm desperately grabbing towards it, trying to pull it back towards me.
I am on the Japan hype.
You've divided us too far.
I think that there's I think that the depth in Japan, it's a lot deeper. The depth is deeper. Okay, the depth is so deep now.
The depth is deeper in Japan than it is in Korea, but DRX would still beat these teams.
No.
What do you mean? No, you don't think DRX would win these games?
No, North Epsilon would shit on DRX at this point.
What are you talking about?
Because what would happen? What would happen? Here, I'll tell you what's going to happen at Champions when North Epsilon plays fucking DRX in the first game, of course. DRX is going to pull out fucking King randomly, and they're going to shit themselves.
The fact
they beat them at Copenhagen in
Ball
the
is
first
trolling,
game.
but they might bring King back in the roster. They might do it. They might do it. Dude, nothing makes sense anymore. I think it's possible they might do that. Okay. So Brennan is picking Edward Gaming. I'm picking North Epsilon to win. Balla, you're going North Epsilon. Josh, who's your winner?
It's North Epsilon, then EDG. They both make the grand finals. I think the upper finals is going to be an ultra banger, and people should tune in. And I don't want them to tune into the upper semis in case it's a shit game, and then they don't, they lose faith.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be a shit
Rebel
game,
against the mustache man.
I think it'll be Edward Gaming, North Epsilon in the finals.
with Edward.
I would
taking
love to see Edward Gaming though. I more so than any LCQ. I actually have a team that I'm rooting for, which is EDG. Every other LCQ, I don't really care who wins.
Faze.
I guess I'd want Faze to win because I think they've got the best chances.
Back.
But yeah, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, okay,
yeah,
okay, okay.
Yeah, pound it,
All right,
pound it,
fair
pound
enough,
it, pound
fair
it, yeah,
enough,
pound
but-
it, pound it down,
but-
come on, man, come on, yeah.
You guys
But
want
I'd
some
rather
full,
have EDG.
EDG lore?
Yeah.
Okay, let me find it. You want to know about?
Is it the thing about? Is it about Kang's alias?
Yeah, his name. I'll post
Everyone
it
and
for
their
you.
nana's seen this at this point.
Well, maybe not some people watching might not.
I
It's
haven't.
cool to bring it up. Yeah, his name, because it's like people wondering like why are people calling them Kang when his name is literally ZMJJKK. But in the tweet he's saying his older brother's alias, his older brother's ID was ZMJJ, because it's like related to his actual name. His name is something else, and his in-game name is KK, like for Kang. And because his brother supports him so much in his esports endeavors, he wants the world to see his ID. So he combined the two. I think that's a fucking dope storyline about his alias and his name, you know? And the guy's just an absolute freak of nature.
I like that. All right, Edward Gaming are going to win now. They have the wholesome buff. I think they're going to win. All right, let's move on to South America. Check out the bracket teams. Are we just all off the croupium at this point? Are we all off the croupium? Or are you starting to listen, Josh? You picked your MVP as Jazine.
What does being mean?
Just believing they're going to win the LCQ.
Oh, right.
I mean, I guess that's like, croupium. It's not even that much croupium. It's just a reasonable opinion to hold, I think.
You're saying we are taking croupium, and that means we're off the croupium.
Yes.
Well,
like we're yes. Like as in we've just took a fat fucking bong hit of croupium and we're off the croupium. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Really
not as if I've given up the croupium. No, I'm talking about being high as shit off that croupium right now. That's what I'm talking about. And I wouldn't say that I would not say that that's the case with me. But I think Crew are certainly are they the favorite? I mean, Josh, I wanted to put this to you because you picked Jazine as your MVP from Furia.
Yeah, you know why I picked him? I went through this because I looked at highlight clips and stats. I haven't watched a single game from South America, not one. And also, whoever makes it out of this bracket's getting grouped anyway. So I'm not tuning in. But either way, I don't know. Furia look like they're doing all right.
There's 2 spots from this LCQ.
Oh, are there? Oh, I didn't even
so
realize.
if you get knocked down to the lower, this upper finals decides who qualifies first, and then if you scroll down, you have a second opportunity. So I think it's highly likely that Crew end up making it through, because I think they're at least in the top 2. Like who's up there with them? Like Furia, maybe NIP.
Yeah, I mean Crew. I think it's very reasonable that Crew will be making it through, and I mean I don't know. NIP really they struggled in their first series, and I just don't have enough faith in this Keed Stars roster. Though I want to believe in the MW Heat duo, but I just don't think it's enough with that current roster. And yeah, I mean, so at the moment, I think it's just Furia, and I think Furia with Jazine playing that well. That's I think that should be enough to take him over the finish line. I mean, I think that upper bracket should just be the end result of the 2 teams qualifying. It's likely.
I mean, it is going on right now as well. There's a match being played. It's the Vivo.
Also, I don't think they're gonna. If Crew make it, I don't think Crew are just gonna get grouped. Josh, there's a lot of fucking teams at Champions. The groups aren't gonna be insanity. I mean, I think
4 more teams.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot more.
Should be kind of crazy, shouldn't they? I haven't really looked at it. But I
damn
assumed
close to qualifying this last tournament. I think they could do it. I don't think that's crazy for them to possibly make it out of the group stage in Champions. I think they got a good shot.
You think of I mean, it's so difficult to think what the group stage would even be like, but I just don't think that's. They'd have to get such a great group, wouldn't they? Or they'd have to at least get like a loud level upset in the right position. So, like, you know, instead of doing it off the rip, they do it in the decider game. That's where they deliver the upset.
I'm done
That's
doubting. I'm done doubting. Every international event, I try and predict it. I get it so fucking wrong. I get it so wrong. There's no certainties, I feel like. There's no certainties with these groups.
There is one certainty. Brazil will shit the bed. That is the certainty that you have to hold on to.
Or just in
both against Crew and internationally, Brazil will shit the bed. That's all you have to hold on to. Loud is the only exception, and they still fell curse to the bed shitting. So it's
they got the second place curse. That's the new curse. Evidently, the streets have told me that that's the new curse. Is the second place curse. So they escaped they escaped the Brazil curse, then they got the second place curse, and now they should be curse free. All the curses should be lifted at this point. So Loud should be doing quite well at champions if that
to
ends up
hire
being
an
true.
exorcist for partnerships in 2023.
All right, let's move on to EMEA Europe, the definitive best region in the game. Dude, it's just EMEA is the best region. It's just, it's just true. And by EMEA, I mean CIS is the best region. So let's take a look at what's going on in the EMEA LCQ featuring CIS, the superior region. We can take a look at that bracket possibly, but who's your favorite for EMEA LCQ at this point? Ball, do I even need to ask?
Nope.
Okay, we all know it's Mech. We all know that Ball is going for Mech. And there are games happening right now. It's a little bit awkward because the NA LCQ is like split up between the weekends, but some of the other events are just going in rapid fire.
It's non-stop.
So the EMEA one just started and it just won't stop. So Liquid are playing against Na'Vi right now because Na'Vi fucking beat the
7-7 on
Yassified
Fractured.
Guild, and they just beat them.
Yassified
Yeah, they got
Guild.
And so Na'Vi made it through, and Na'Vi are in the second round, and they're playing against Team Liquid now, I guess, and Liquid are currently winning as we're watching this. What was the first map score? I mean, a pretty reasonable end result. I mean, it looks like, I guess, Liquid are probably going to take that game.
Wow.
And then go up against Mech for a spot in the grand final. And yeah, and then in the lower bracket, you got G2 beating I mean, there's a bit to talk about. So let's take this in nice chunks, and we'll put together kind of the whole puzzle here. But let's start with the topic at hand. Who is your favorite at this point? Ball's going Mech. What are you thinking, Josh?
I would love to root for Guild, but I'm so annoyed that they weren't able to play with Twiston. I think that would have been such a cool thing to watch, and I guess because that's fallen through, maybe they've thrown away their chances of being able to now make it to champions, because they should be the favorites based off their Copenhagen performances. And they did look better in that second game. I watched them play against BBL, but it's BBL, man. BBL are not a great team. I think Cushin is a great player, but I don't think they're a great team. And Guild did look improved here. They had Yassine playing full-time Raze.
Yeah, they put him on the Raze now, which was a way better switch.
Yeah,
Way
it was a better switch.
But
and
also,
you're still getting these really good performances from Safe. You're still getting really good performances from Trex, even though he's not playing Duelist for them.
Yeah.
But it's not what they were hoping for. If you cut Russ and shift the roles around to make space for a star Duelist, you're not hoping you get Yassine holding his own in games against BBL. That's not what you're hoping for.
it doesn't look like a long-term shift.
I mean, I think the long-term
they were forced into it.
Sure. Well, were they?
Yeah, they were forced into it.
Why were they forced into it? They weren't forced into cutting Russ.
No, you're right about that. But the reason they only had like one day with Yassine before they played, and that's because they were trying to get Twiston, and the loan deal got rejected by Riot because it wasn't an emergency loan. So whatever reason, maybe they believe that there's some sort of conflict of interest or whatever, so they don't allow that loan to happen from Big, who's not playing in the LCQ. And because of that, they practiced for 2 weeks or whatever, a week with Twiston. I don't remember exactly what Safe said in the interview, but that's on Yinsu's channel. You can go check that out. But they're forced into playing with somebody who's not a star duelist. So there you go.
Right.
Twiston is a duelist though, so they were planning on playing with another duelist. So
and I think that would have made a lot of sense. Yeah, the role swap makes sense. The problem is that Yassine isn't the level of player that they were hoping to have there. You know what I mean? If you have to change your entire system around very quickly after you've had a decent performance at a LAN event, you're hoping you get such a large improvement in firepower that it makes up for the fact that you're having to redo a lot of your strats and redo a lot of your setups, and people having to relearn their job inside of those setups because their role has shifted. And you just didn't get that because Yassine is a better fragger than Russ, but not enough to make up the gap. And he was feeling very uncomfortable playing the Jet and the stuff that he was in the first round. I'd like to believe that they could do some kind of run back, but I just don't really see it happening. Oglu looked pretty good, and then you're facing off against one of Na'Vi or Liquid, and I just think Mech should be set up to win this one.
Should be, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mech or
Right.
Liquid. I mean,
It's-
Liquid are playing now, but
Yeah, it's not clear cut.
Dude, it's not Liquid. It's not Liquid.
you don't think it's Liquid?
It's not
I mean, I know
Liquid.
you don't
Dude,
have a lot of
Liquid
faith in
just
them because
have-
they've just been
Liquid
making all
have-
these weird changes.
They have access to like the miracle juice, though. I
Yeah, they have
swear.
Yeah.
They
Can't
do.
win. They can't win playing this style of Valorant. They can't. They can't win playing the.
You
We
say
don't
that,
have
but they
a clue what we're doing. We're
can.
just kind of running around.
and they might.
The problem is because their players are too good. Their players are really good, but their game plan and their execution of said game plan is so wank that it's annoying to watch. It's so annoying. And I'm not even watching the game. I'm just watching the fucking ticker go up and seeing them beat Na'Vi, and it's boiling my blood. And I hate the fact that I'm rooting against these players because I like them. But holy fuck, it's making me annoyed.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think
You
I
can't
might.
win a tournament playing like this. You can't.
No.
You just simply
Well,
can't.
you can win LCQ. You can't win a real. Like,
I think I'm gonna go with
Can you win
Liquid to
LCQ
qualify, though.
like that?
Yeah, I think I might go
Can
with
you-
Liquid. They just have the miracle juice, man. They just make it out of so many of these sticky scenarios, like the last spot, the last game. Like they just have they've done it so many times before. I just believe in their ability to qualify and then have a modest showing as champions.
I watched their game against BBL, and again, it's against BBL. They're not a particularly great team. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. They're playing with New Phoenix. Let's take a look and see if Scream had any interesting stuff that they were doing. Nothing! Nothing! Not a single interesting thing. He had 2 rounds in the whole map where he had any level of impact beyond just baiting his teammates to farm ult orbs. I swear to God, they came in with a game plan as the IGL. He said, I'm going to bait you guys for ult orbs, and we're going to try and get value out of my ult. 2 rounds he had impact, despite the fact he put up 19 kills. There were only 2 rounds where it actually had anything going on. And the only game plan that they seemed to have was doing the same fucking Phoenix wall into their A execs that they were doing like a year ago. That's the... Dude, it makes me so fucking pissed watching
Won the
this
game
team.
though. They did.
Yeah, they did.
Won the game though. That's all good. All good. Okay, really quick, a couple of teams I want to talk about though in the bracket. I want to talk about G2 because they're still in it. It looked like all hope was lost. They lose the first map to Ascend, and then they somehow come back and win the series after getting all-glued in round 1. They got hit by the all-glue, went down to the lower bracket, and beat Ascend, who are out in 2. And Ascend's year, it's over. Also, I don't think... Ascend maybe could get into franchising, but I can't imagine they're one of the favorite candidates for EU, right? I mean, there's got to be a solid amount of teams that are ahead of Ascend in regards to getting a franchising spot. And somehow G2 are hanging around, and Meadow went crazy on the second map to scrape out the win in comeback fashion. And I mean, it's pretty mental, honestly, that G2 are still in this, but they are. Is there any hope for G2 to make a run in this, or have we kind of just writing them off here?
Flipping a coin when I pred their games now, I think. Just, I don't fucking know, man. I don't know. I really don't know.
No, I don't think there's a
I'm
chance
writing
for them to make a run. There's a chance for them to maybe win one more match or something like that. Who do they play next?
It'll be the loser of Liquid Na'Vi, won't it?
Wouldn't it flip? I guess they'd play the
cannot flip.
loser.
That would be flipped.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. Yeah, no, I don't see them beating either of those teams.
I think G2 have some maps where they look like they've got a good idea of what they're up to. I like their bind. I have done for a while. I think that Nookie as an IGL and as a player seems to really understand how to get really large value on that map. But this team is constantly having similar problems. Honestly, somewhat similar problems to Liquid as well. Their system does not make sense. They have Mixwell in a position that doesn't make sense. They have Avova and Meadow in spots where they're either mega struggling or will occasionally have a pop-off game. And the overarching game plans don't seem to be particularly present. I don't think that they can string it together for a full run.
Yep.
But also, man, what I'm more pissed about is Ascend. This team is not even Ascend anymore. And also, if they don't make it into franchising, that just means that the pieces are just free agent scraps roaming around, and there isn't even a core to pick up. So this team is just dead. Like, if you were going to pick up a core of Ascend, who would it even be? It wouldn't. There is no core. CNED and Starzo, that's it.
Bring back.
Bring back Zeke to form a core for 2023. It's just mad. All of the roster moves, I don't know, not all of them, but the most recent roster move just made no sense. Just plummeted them.
Even if there wasn't a partnership system next year, though, you would still see the same blowing up of rosters. Maybe not to the same degree, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Not going to argue to the same degree, but I think with Ascend's year, this roster would have been done next year.
Yes.
Even if there was no partnerships. I think
it's actually more cool. It's more cool this way around in some sense, because you get to see people like CNED, Monster, and Starzo on the free market. And they should be people that are trying to get picked up, I think. Obviously for CNED, but also for Starzo as a very flexible player that's shown good performances over the course of his career. And for Monster, who's like an upcoming player that showcased very good individual form whilst playing for Ascend. I think they've got some good free agents here. They just need to release them.
Yeah. It does. Yeah, it does seem like. I mean, obviously, there's an inevitable shuffle coming, but I think it kind of feels like especially so in EU, because so many of the big orgs are the teams that are struggling the most. It feels like in EU. So there's just sort of an inevitable. It feels like there's an inevitable, mega shuffle coming where those orgs with the big money are going to be trying to put some. I mean, G2 are going to be doing that, right?
I think you could say that for North America as well, though, because like you've got T1, TSM.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just kind of true across the board, and that's just sort of a result of the open system that we've existed in up until this point. That it's the upcoming teams that are grinding hard, just slowly overtaking all of the big orgs. But
how does it work when a team doesn't get into franchising? And they have like CNED, for example, like just locked in their contract, or like
depends what they want to do with him. If they have him under contract, they could charge a buyout for him for sure, and that's what these teams should be doing. I mean, it's not like scummy behavior or anything. You've had this player on your team for a long time. If they're still under contract, well, they started their contracts at the end of Champions last year. If you remember, there was a big thing about Ascend where they were thinking about splitting up, and CNED re-signed to the team. So depending on how long he re-signed for, hopefully he didn't re-sign into 2023. So I think at that point we had rumors that was going to be when franchising kicked off. But if he signed like an 18-month contract or something like that, still puts him under term, then they'll be able to sell him for a buyout.
Right.
Depends on the personal basis of the players.
One more region to talk about, Boom Esports. They've qualified from APAC, so we can touch on this a little bit. This is, I was not able to watch this run. Balla, you were checking out these games, right? So maybe you can
as well.
Bren watched as well. All right, you guys can lead the charge on Boom Esports. Do they have a chance at champions?
A chance for what? I mean, I think it's one of those
not to get grouped, to win a game.
Grouped? Yeah.
Win a round.
No, this is a team that can win a game. It's not like any. I think we're too far past the time where we'd be like, this team's not going to win a round or win a game or anything like that.
For sure,
like,
I'm joking, but
I know, but there was legitimate reasons to think that for some of the teams in the past. I think APAC as a region has evolved so well. I mean, I hesitate to say that Boom was the best team, because this seems to be a relatively new form for them. They were consistently, playoff team, but not necessarily deep runs all the time. But they've been around for a long time.
One of the go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead. I mean,
I was going to say one of the things I liked from Boom before I talk negatives about them was they were coming up with unique ideas. They had something different that they would pull out for bonus rounds and their pistol rounds, and that was one of the core reasons that you see a lot of those minor region teams find success, is because they have ideas cooked up that can snowball into multiple rounds at the end of the day. And Boom were pretty effective at doing that. But I think from this game in particular, both of these teams that ended up playing, there was a bit of nerves at play, because obviously how much was on the line. You get to play at champs if you win. So there was a lot of little mistakes that ended up happening. the players, the shots weren't quite as crispy, a lot of indecision sometimes. And in terms of just their overall game plan, it wasn't like watching Paper X and walking away thinking, man, they actually have so many cool looks to them. They have so much curated strategies with different compositions. Boom end up essentially mirroring a lot of comps that you just see in NA and EMEA and stuff. They just kind of like they've been playing and adopting those comps, but they haven't been playing them as well as what you see from some of the teams in those other regions. So when I'm watching them, I'm just thinking like I'm watching kind of like a mid-tier team in EMEA or NA. And so to that point, I think that they have a bit of an advantage here where they were one of the first teams out of any of the LCQs to qualify. What I want to see them do is move to EU early and boot camp and get good prep and practice early ahead of time with the extra time that they've got. Because I think that there's 100% potential with this team, but they just need to have those weaknesses exposed by playing against other teams in other regions. And I think they have the advantage of being able to, they've qualified early. They know they're going there. They should be going to Europe, I think, and boot camping early right now to make the most of it.
Is a very good point. Yeah, I
Data, by the way, is already in EU, apparently.
Are they really?
Yeah, according to the streets.
I respect that.
Who, sorry?
That's pretty sick.
According to the streets.
Zeta division.
Oh, Zeta?
Zeta
Oh,
division,
really?
yeah.
Oh.
They're winning. They're winning champions.
They're winning. Yep.
I didn't get a chance to watch this game, but I was going back and just taking a look at Boom because I've seen them floating around when I've been looking at APAC brackets and stuff and wasn't really aware of what their history was. They finished 7th to 8th. That's last place in the playoffs of stage 2 in APAC. But they played against the other best Indonesian team, the team that they beat this time around, and then they got eliminated by Xerxia. So those were good teams to go up against and end up losing to for the playoffs of stage 2. And they made a roster move since then. They added a guy called Famehouse to the team, and he was their best player from LCQ just by the numbers. Again, didn't get a chance to watch, but he was the 5th best player by ACS in the tournament with like 160 ADR. 0.8 KPR, and he's playing like mostly flex roles, although he's been playing some chamber and raise. So I mean, just looking at what you've got there, it seems like the roster move was pretty important for them to be able to turn that kind of the like being a decent team on the cusp of doing something into winning a tournament like this. I don't know. Did you feel like that guy was having a massive impact when you were watching?
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was
absolutely.
He was. I wouldn't say easily their best player. He was one of their best players, but I think that the impact, the reason why they won the series was clutch players by not necessarily him all the time. It was Flipshitter and Tibatul who were fucking popping off in random moments. This was a really close series. It was 3-1, but every single game went the distance. It was another really good Indonesian team. I think they have chops. Like they have good strats. They have good ideas, some new ideas too that I haven't seen anywhere, which is always good for a team coming into this. But I agree with Bren. They looked a little shaky. Maybe it's the nerves or what, but individual level from these guys, it feels like they get random, multi-kills that they're not consistently getting. They're not consistently even getting a frag in some cases where you're like, they should get this kill. So individual level scares me a little bit, but I think tactics-wise, team-wise, they're pretty good, and they have a solid base where, like, for example, a team that comes out of Korea or something like that, I'm always like, they're good at this thing, but they're bad at this thing. I think every team that I watched in APAC, I think I watched three of the teams at the top. They were all like, why? They had good defaults, they had good executes, they had good trap plays, like they knew how to take space. All that stuff was good, and I think that's a really good sign for this team.
Yeah, I'm building upon what you just said there as well. I love the comment you made about their foundation that this team has. Honestly, you ignited a memory in my mind of the kind of feelings I had from Zeta Division heading into Reykjavik, where I was watching them and I wasn't impressed with them. It was more like they're copying a lot of similar styles and comps of other teams, but they're missing just a key piece of why the comp works, or like a macro understanding of what to do here or there, and relying and leaning on the raw firepower a lot, but to get them out of that. And I mean, they went on a run and they made tremendous improvements because I think of the ability to practice against good teams that they got in at Iceland, and that's why I'm hammering home this idea of them getting in practice early and making sure that those issues that are not going to get pried apart necessarily in APAC, but they will, I think, against a lot of the good quality of teams that you'd find in EMEA that you could have just in that scrim pool. So
Sure.
Yeah, I think they could do damage, but it's also super early. We don't know what the hell the bracket even looks like.
Yeah, I mean, Lord knows we got a couple weeks out from knowing.
Who knows?
that, I
The
imagine.
fucking all the non-LCQ teams are going to be in the playoff bracket already. Who fucking knows? It doesn't like.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa. No.
All right. Let's do it. It's the segment. Predictions. NA LCQ Week 2 match predictions. Are there going to be any Plat moments? Let's find out. All right.
I
we
got
the
one.
guard.
I was so fucking dog shit last week, by the way. Did
What?
any of you guys keep track
Okay, Bren.
of like how well you did? I think I got one game right.
Did okay.
I didn't even do them last week, but I would have gotten. I think I was 100% correct, but I didn't do them. All right, let's get into the guard versus Faze. What do we got here? The guard versus Faze, upper bracket. Oh God, we've all gone for
God damn.
Faze. We've only gone and done it. We've only gone and done it.
Is this do you think this is a
Wait.
guarantee?
Is
Yes.
this a Plat chat guarantee?
Yes.
Yes, this is a guarantee.
Well, for the camera.
In my opinion, it's a guarantee.
There you go.
I don't.
You look very happy, Josh.
I don't think listen,
Hey,
I'll
I'll tell you
do
one
it.
thing,
I'll
hey.
do the bit, okay? But I don't think this is a guarantee. I don't think this is a guarantee. When you got Trent in Trent form, and you got I can buy into the guard. I can buy into the guard slowly returning up the mountain slope of form. They're slowly trekking and climbing up. Okay, I can buy into that. And when I'm watching Trent go fucking bananas, I can buy. I don't think this is just a guaranteed Faze win. I mean, I
Faze
really
have
don't think
three
so.
Trent.
What?
Good point.
Baby Trent, Trenty, and Super Trent. They have three Trents.
Super Trent. That's so fucking stupid.
That's
I mean,
why Faze is going to win.
Trenty. Yeah. Okay. I
couldn't think of what to do with Dicey. I took a pause to try and blend the names together and it didn't work.
I get what you're saying, Josh, but I mean, the other guys on guard are playing. They're not playing as well as the Faze guys, are they? I mean, they're just.
No, I don't think they are.
They're just I mean, because Baby Bay and Dicey have just been so fucking reliable for so long at this point that they've earned a level of credibility in regards to like the consistency expectation that you have when you're just looking at them. And then Superman, I swear to God, he really is the fucking final piece of the millennial puzzle, and it comes together in this fucking whatever's happening. Okay, okay. When Superman is activated, when you have of those three, you're gonna get like 2 fucking cracked out performances per map, and the other team is just ruined. You just can't do it. And then when you're playing on maps like their map pool, it feels like they're just always playing on maps that are good for them. Like we're always going back to Ascent where on defense it's like you're just never fucking taking A when Superman is anchoring there. I mean, good luck. You get Baby Bay's going crazy on that map always. Like they're playing on Breeze, they're playing on all of them. I swear to God, they're just always playing on maps that they're so fucking good at. But also, I think the guard have a chance. I think that I don't know. I'm convincing myself more and more that the guard don't have a chance. But
I think Icebox might end up being pretty good for the guard to be able to get a win away there. It doesn't seem like a kind of map that FaZe would want to ban off the rip. You got Sire that plays Chamber. You got Jonah P playing the Brim. They actually have a really cool idea of how they want to play that map. And that's also one that FaZe lost to Boostio playing a really good Chamber too. And
They might go.
Sire's Chamber's been good.
Yeah, they might go Breeze Icebox. Here's the thing. I don't think this is a guarantee either, Wyatt. But I fucking hate there has to be a guarantee thing. If all of us, I go with the meme. Okay, I go with the meme, and I don't care. However,
I think
FaZe are going to win this game, and I'll tell you why. They are so close to making it. Okay, last time they had to go through LCQ, or they had to go through the lower bracket right off the bat because they lost 100 Thieves. Confidence, a little shot. Okay, they have to fucking go through a gauntlet, the entire thing, right? They get up against XZ eventually. It's like, oh, fucking dude. Like, we have to win this game type of shit. Here, bro, they're almost there. They're going to come out so fucking confident. They're chilling. No matter what happens this game, they like have no pressure. It's like they're just fucking vibing. And that is the worst thing that could happen to any team that is going up against FaZe. They are going to get fucked. And I think, I mean, Baby Bay and Dicey, just confidence all the way. This can't be a guard win. I think maybe in the lower bracket once they come back, potentially, if the guard is back up to 4.
Making it worse. You're making it worse.
I wasn't trying to make it better.
Can't be a guard win, he says.
Also,
By the way,
FaZe is the only team to survive our curse multiple times. So there you
really?
go.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that little factoid.
By the way, Liquid just beat Na'Vi, and it's making me mauled live. I just watched the final few rounds of that game, and it's just
I'm seething.
Liquid make miracles happen.
I'm seething and coping, and I'm going to seethe and cope until Liquid get to champs.
All right, let's move on to the next game, the ultimate fucking clout match. I mean, I don't think this will get more viewers than the Guard Sentinels because that was the first Shroud game. So, of course, that one's going to be probably the most bonkers you'll see unless they happen to go to Champions. But I think this will probably get close. It's 100 Thieves versus Sentinels. What do we got? Oh, we dodged the curse because I've gone for Sentinels and everyone else has gone for 100 Thieves. We've dodged the curse on this one, so maybe 100 Thieves will take it. I really like this. I like this 100 Thieves roster a lot, but the games of them, they've just made me so, they make me so sad. And Sentinels, their game, beating Shopify Rebllion returned just for a second. I just felt joy in my life again. For a fleeting moment, I felt happiness watching Shroud get like multi-kills in Viper pits.
You do, yeah, you do.
Yeah, apparently I need to go and watch this VOD and just study Shroud.
To be fair though, you're not gonna be fucking mind blown. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, nice, this was fucking good. But you're not gonna be mind blown.
You're gonna watch it and you're gonna say, "Oh my god!" That's what's gonna happen when you're watching the game. When you're watching the Shroud gameplay.
Too much.
I'm gonna watch the game and I'm gonna become a believer and a tier 3 sub.
I already subbed to him. I got a tier 3 sub to Shroud. I'm not even kidding.
No, you don't.
Yeah, he got like a 3K in the game, and I pulled up his stream when he had somebody else co-streaming on it, and I tier 3 sub to him live on stream.
Dude, the thing, part of it though too is, Bren said it earlier, and I'm buying into the Shroud interview. He was so poised and mature in the post-game interview.
Balla.
And he was very honest. And he said, you know what? In that first game, I was very nervous. It was a breath of fresh air. Normally, when I hear Sentinels interviews, I'm ready for like fucking excuses and money talk. But Shroud was just, he went in there and he was humble and he was vulnerable and he was honest. And it was a breath of fresh air for a Sentinels interview, you know. And he's like, yeah, we were nervous in that first game, and you know we came, and I was like, you know what, dude, I'm buying into this. My mind is really susceptible, and I'm buying into everything Shroud is telling me, and it's making me believe that they have. I don't know, and I felt like I could see it though in the Shopify game. This renewed, they were playing a solid game. They were individually, I think the players they're more so than previously with the Sentinels games. I think across the board, more of the players are playing well. And I think if TENS, if we get a bit of a TENS activation, I think that might push down, the dominoes, and then all of a sudden, holy shit, they're in Champions. Okay, maybe I'm going too far. Maybe I'm going too far.
What's going on here?
Hold on.
I think this is a pretty accurate standings of where we've got our Preds. I think there's a chance the Sentinels take it just based on what we've seen of 100 Thieves, but 100 Thieves should be the favorites in this matchup, right?
100 Thieves.
Yeah, but I think it's closer to 50-50.
Should be the favorites.
Okay.
But goddamn, if I'm not nervous about 100 Thieves in a big game, billions of viewers tuning in from across the globe.
I mean,
fucking Martians tuning into this game, dude. There's so much clout on the line. All right, and I'll be damned if I'm not. I'm nervous for that team in circumstances like this. There's a lot on the line. And I though they've been good, and though Derek has been in great form and Austin has been in great form, Like I'm nervous. If 100 Thieves win, I would be happy with that. But I'm nervous. Is that fair?
What's happening?
That's fair.
That was my fucking monologue. Sorry.
I mean, I respect it. I've gone on and on about Sentinels. I don't really want to talk about them anymore. But I expect, dude, it should be 100 Thieves taking this one in theory, unless what I was saying about earlier, what Wyatt just mentioned, the aura of petrification kicks in and fucking 100 Thieves get turned into stone because they're going up against cloud demons. Like, that could be a reality we live in. I think the game is going to be closer than this is tomorrow, right? This match.
It's the first game.
Yes, it's tomorrow.
Cancel
It is
everything
the
to watch
first
this.
game.
I'm clearing my schedule. I'm calling up
4
my fucking
p.m.
receptionist. Clear everything. We're watching this game.
Okay, let's move on to the last game. Cloud9 versus NRG. This is another interesting one. 3 bangers straight away in North America, to be honest. All right, Josh, the lone C9 believer. Everyone else has gone with NRG. Josh, defend yourself.
I've got a feeling.
So this is a feeling-based prediction.
This is a I didn't watch the games and I'm going on a feeling kind of parade here. Now I caught a bit of both of these teams, but I am feeling better about NRG. But I keep, at the beginning of the year, I had the take that I thought Cloud9 Cloud9 are going to be the best team. Leaf
I remember that, yeah.
Of North America. And this is where it comes true. This is where it comes true. This is where Cloud9 go on a miracle run all the way to the end of LCQ. They go just blazing forwards, the same thing that they did last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're the best performing North American team of champions. And I get to feel really smug about myself. And if that doesn't happen, I'll just pretend it did anyway and just live in my own little world and continue to sit under a rock for all of these episodes. So that's what I'm doing here.
You know those science experiments that they, at school, they would burn like magnesium and like lithium and they would burn really bright?
Yeah.
That's how I felt about NRG last stage, where they would have these moments. They were burning very bright, but it didn't feel consistent. Listen, you can't rely on that fucking light to guide you through the cave system and push back the darkness, that's going to envelop you. But this NRG is a little bit different. They found some sustainable energy sources. They're not relying on the fucking magnesium burning to light their way. They've got a torch and it's rechargeable with a USB-C cable. They're good at the moment. And I think that they're finding their way through the cave with some clean gameplay. They look good. I think Hayes IGLN as well has been pretty solid, honestly, the past 2 stages. But the team just seems to be leveling up a little bit at the moment. Whereas I still have that nagging doubt at the back of my mind about Cloud9. I'm just kind of rehashing what we were talking about earlier about Cloud9. But
I don't have doubt. It's come full circle. I had doubt. It came true. They look terrible. They've stayed terrible. And now the doubt has turned to hope.
what?
I think that's a solid way to cap that off. I think that's a good way to cap it off. Bren is just getting sucked under the desk. He is.
Well,
bye, Bren.
That's something different.
Whoa.
Depends on what you think I'm in. I'm Wyatt's Weekly Award. The final segment. Wyatt's Weekly Award. This trophy before. Wyatt's Weekly Award. But who's getting it this time? This week, the weekly award. Who's it going to go to? This week, the weekly award is going to Dust Moray, baby. Dust Moray is winning the weekly award this week. Now, you may be thinking, why? Why is Dust Moray winning the weekly award this week? I mean,
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
He has been casting the LCQ. That's good for him. Been casting the LCQ, doing a great job over there. Is that why he won the weekly award? No. It's because he gave me money to give him the weekly award.
No!
It's because
No!
I'm quitting the show. Goodbye.
This week,
What?
the award has been bought and sold.
What?
That's
Oh,
why.
What
That's-
have you done to the sanctity of your award?
That's why. There he is posting his Wardle. So
What did he give you?
now after
What
this,
did he give you?
after this, I'm gonna have to restore the sanctity of the award. After this one, there's gonna be some honest, like, wow, this guy had a great performance in the server this week. But I need to feed my family. So this week,
Can you tell us what you priced the prestigious Wyatt's Weekly Award at? The award that's at the end of every show, a segment that we could sell to a sponsor for a large amount of money. What did you sell yourself for?
No.
one gifted sub. one gifted sub.
There's just no way.
I've
There's
fallen
just no
on.
fucking way.
I've fallen on hard
There's just no
times.
fucking way.
You gave it one gifted sub. Are you kidding me?
I've
Fucking
fallen
way.
on hard
Fight me
times.
right now.
I have to feed my children. This is the only way left. Ball is just gone again.
I think we should all leave you.
Well, on that note, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for watching. And if you're checking out the VOD, or as soon as this stops playing, make sure to leave a comment and let us know which team you think is going to be qualifying through the LCQ. Of any region, frankly. You could just fucking name any team from any region if you want. Who's it going to be? But let us know your thoughts on who is going to be qualifying the LCQ in the comments section below as soon as the stream is over, or if you're watching this as a VOD viewer. Thank you for watching Plat Chat 101. That's like a Plat Chat spin-off show where we go educate ourselves or some shit. I don't know.
We need some education, I think.
All right. Ball is breaking news. Banned to T1. Holy shit. All right, we'll see.
Wait, what?
I mean, we'll talk about that
We'll
next.
do that. We'll do
Amir,
that.
thank you for the $2 super chat. Banned to T1. I mean, do we want Kurt?
No,
you make the,
we'll talk about it next
we'll
week.
talk about it. Well, if you want,
How do people give a shit about T1 still?
if you want to hear
Bye.
more about it,
I think people can.